I'm just gonna say this right off the top. I feel like you're gonna have to take the reins on this one. I feel like this is gonna be a real Brent drives the bus on this one.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
I'm gonna cede sort of narrative control to you because this is, I feel like maybe out of all the movies we've covered, maybe this is the most you movie.
yeah.
I'm not gonna like put words in your mouth and say it's your favorite movie, but it feels to me like out of everything we've covered, this is the movie that I would like kind of be like, oh no, this is his thing.
Well, you would probably be correct in saying that because I would probably feel the same thing, even though I read all the
think
books.
That this is your favorite alien or your favorite movie that we've covered?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, because like I love Lord of the Rings. I've read all the books, but I would still yield to you.
I was just gonna make the same comparison. Like if we ever do Jackson, it's gonna be a shit show for me because I'm gonna have 6 whole episodes where I'm just like, I have to fucking prove my worth. And I feel like maybe this is the same for you now, where you're like, this is kind of my moment to shine for Alien.
I did feel that, I told my cousins and some of my family, I'm like, guess what I'm reviewing next for the podcast, and they're like, what? And I'm like, Alien. And some of them were like, oh god, like how many times, it's just
how many times have you fucking gone on and on and on?
Right.
Okay.
But it's also like, I kind of with this is considered a classic, obviously.
Absolutely.
When it comes to classics, it's almost like, what more can you say?
It's true. I think that was a problem that I was worried about when we covered movies like The Dark Knight or There Will Be Blood, where I'm just like, okay, like this is some pretty well tread ground that we're stepping on here.
Right. I mean, Alien has spawned how many movies? Like this is a franchise with so much backstory, like so much has came from this one movie. So in a way, it's tough to just pinpoint it down on just what we've seen just for that, however long the first runtime is, because you want to get into, like, you don't know it yet, but the xenomorph is a creature that can take the abilities of other animals. That's
the thing with a movie like this, like that spawns a franchise that maybe, well, you know what? Why are we even talking about this right now? It's because it's Film School Dropouts, folks. Welcome to Film School Dropouts, everyone. This is a movie podcast in which each season we cover a director's full filmography, unless it's Tim Burton cutting him off the list.
What?
And I know I felt like I should do this sort of like jump on the sword moment here, where I've been killing off a lot of directors I don't like. I love Tim Burton. I really do. I really don't want to talk about like 18 to 19 Tim Burton movies. It's going to really bum me the fuck out.
Holy cow, you can't do this. No, what? Folks, he's been doing his little axe game, taking the cut to the directors. As you know, I've been standing by your side. I've been fighting for these directors. I'm going to continue to fight for Tim Burton.
A politician for Tim Burton.
We're going for Burton because that aesthetic is so unique. The performances, especially from depth, characters, and they have to be discussed. So I'll be fighting for him.
You don't want it. You think you want it. You think you're being valiant, and then we're gonna get to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. You're just gonna be like, we shouldn't have done this. And that's like 16 movies deep or something. Trust me, you don't want it.
Did he do Ed Wood?
I mean, yes, a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's. Hey, look, he's down the list. It's not someone we have to get to right away.
I'm just saying I'm being valiant now in saying, you know what, this is a guy I love very deeply. I'm going to cut him off because it's too much. Because I've been cutting off people that I'm sure you like more, and I just figured I would jump on the sword at this moment.
No. Yeah, I feel like they've been some decent cuts, but at the same time, this is a podcast about exploring directors, not about killing these directors.
We're killing them off.
Wow.
Every episode we're gonna have this discussion. I can't wait. I've got a list, bud. I've got a whole list.
I have a list.
Anyways, this is season 4, and we're covering the films of Ridley. Is it 4? Yeah,
season 4, episode 2. Yeah,
episode 2. We're covering the films of Ridley Scott, the 20 brackets, whatever you want to call it, the 20th century films of Ridley Scott. This is part 1. This is episode 2 of this season, and we're covering a little movie you may have heard of before called Alien.
Yeah, I mean, like we discussed, the alien is iconic. The xenomorph, the creature. Today, it's considered. You can't, as far as like movie,
super iconic.
It's not a movie monster creature. Any horror that's bigger than life. And you kind of count this as a slasher too, because there's a whole final girl run at the end.
Oh yeah, sure. I've always thought of this as like Jaws in space, kind of like.
That's fine. There's been some comparisons. Whenever there's some crazy force just picking off the cast members,
just taking them out. Yeah.
So, but the xenomorph is iconic. Everyone knows this. That there's how many movies now? We got Alien,
like 6
Aliens,
main movies,
Alien 3,
like
Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, Alien Covenant,
and then like 2
Alien
AVPs.
vs Predator, right? Alien vs Predator Requiem.
Get out of my face. Both of those don't count. Flush those down the toilet. Is that all of them?
I mean, there's a lot of video games. Alien Isolation. You said that one?
What?
Alien Isolation? That game?
No. I'm just yes. I've heard of it.
There's a ton, but there's graphic novels, comics, the toy line. For me,
this guy's been around forever.
Yeah.
The toy line. Oh, you had Alien toys.
Well, yeah, there was. Because I was trying to figure out my attachment to this franchise. As if the listeners don't know yet, this is probably one of my 2 favorite franchises. It's this and Scream. These are, growing up was everything for me. I had a bunk bed that had a ladder attached to it, and I would have my cousins on the bottom bunk, and I would kind of slither down the ladder like an alien little thing. I don't know. It was weird. I make my veins pop out.
I would love to see like all 6'7" of you trying to sneak down a ladder.
I was a little bit smaller at the time, but
all right, fine, 5'11", whatever you want to call it.
No, that's anyway.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we got a lot to talk about on this episode. I'm sure we're just going to get into all kinds of stuff, go down tangents, and all kinds of stuff. Can't wait for it. But first, let's talk about some Lil Movies.
Little movies
we've seen lately.
Well, I'll go first because I've seen a lot of Lil Movies. I just happened to throw on one the other night, The Adam Project, starring Ryan Reynolds.
All right. Let's go. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly where my mind was at sitting down when I turned it on.
Yeah.
Because I did see his last one, Red Notice, and it's kind of like I was expecting the same thing. And guess what? It kind of was the same thing.
Yeah, he's not a good actor. He's a terrible movie star, and he picks horrible projects. What are we doing, folks? He's like trying to sell his Mint mobile app or whatever, and like he's all right. I'll let you talk about the Adam Project. I have no idea what the fuck this movie's about.
No, there's a lot of time travel.
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo makes an appearance.
What?
Yeah, plays his dad in like
Wait, Mark Ruffalo plays Ryan Reynolds' dad?
Correct.
Wait, aren't they like the same age? They're like the same generation.
Well, that's where the time travel comes in.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Jennifer Garner, strong cast. Zoe Saldana, Catherine Keener. You could tell it was really trying. Like the special effects were solid. There was a lot more heart than Red Notice. Like they were trying. Well, sure. Obviously, I'm just wondering how much. Like obviously, he built his whole career on that schmarmy, like whatever. Yes. However he is.
Listen, I really don't know what the Ryan Reynolds thing is. Like he was sort of charming and like you said, just sort of that like scummy hot guy or whatever for a long time, and like that worked for him. And then like he did Deadpool.
Is it quick-witted asshole? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And like he did Deadpool, which was like a perfect fit. I get it.
Yes.
And like he blew up. And then since Deadpool, he's sort of just become this like depressing, like.
Well, he's just taking paychecks at this point.
He's taking paychecks. And like I said, he's like this media mogul now where he's got like a bank that he owns or some shit. Like him and like Dwayne Johnson are just the same to me, where I'm like, okay, so this movie's just for you to sell your tequila, like this isn't even a movie really. And yeah, like Ryan Reynolds, I mean, also like there's all this weird shit about it, like he got married on a plantation, and I'm just like, what's the deal with this fucking guy? I don't think I want him around me, my movies, just whatever. So
wow, a hot take on Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, it's not a hot take. He did get married on a plantation. He can fuck right off.
Okay, yeah, I guess that is a little.
Yeah, that's no bueno. That's no bueno.
So yeah, Adam Project, meh. Kind of like the last couple ones. It's like you know what you're getting when you sit down.
From what I've been led to believe, it just is like another like Netflix algorithm like print out, which is like wait, did you guys even think about this movie? Did like an algorithm in a computer tell you that the elements of this movie would make you money? What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, I got the sense that Netflix threw a lot of money at a lot of pretty decently big names.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't know, it's I got a sense that they were trying, like it's getting closer to have. Each one of these print by number Netflix movies has a little more heart, and
Is that true? I guess you probably watch more of them than I do.
I do. I think I
Red
do.
Notice looked like the most like dead on arrival thing I've ever seen in my life.
I got major like early 90s action vibes.
It seems like that's what they were going for, but like
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who wants mindless explosions anymore? You know, it's
quite literally everyone. Spider-Man No Way Home was like a humongous
hit. Here we
all
go.
These Marvel movies. All right, here we go. Here I am.
Explosions. I know we don't really talk about upcoming movies, but do you see the trailer for that Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh yeah. Michael Bay's new movie. Speaking of mindless explosions,
right?
That's great. Yeah, can't wait to get in the ambulance.
What do you got? What do you got for me? Movies?
Yeah, Lil Movies. I wanted to shout this movie out before it is lost to time because it seems like no one even recognized that it came out, and it seems like the company behind distributing it sort of just forgot that it existed, even though it is great with a capital G. HBO Max original Kimmy, starring Zoe Kravitz, directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Wow, I like both those names.
Yes. Kimmy rules. Kimmy is like it's got like the energy of like a 70s paranoia thriller, and it's about like a woman who essentially works for quote unquote Amazon, and she listens to quote unquote Alexa recordings of people talking to their units, and she has to like correct them or whatever. And the plot of the movie is that she hears something on one of these recordings that's not very good. And she kind of like starts to dig into it and figure out what's going on. Oh,
I think I saw a trailer for this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot like Blowout or Blow Up. Any of these sort of like thrillers where people like think they see something that's bad and they have to look into it and like they go down the rabbit hole. It's great. It's seriously great. It's like a quick 90 minutes. It's tense. It's super sleek. And Zoe Kravitz is so good in it. She has this really weird kind of like manic energy and like this physicality because she's like claustrophobic. And it's also set like right after the pandemic, and it like addresses that, but not in a way that's like super annoying, like how I feel like a lot of these movies are now, where they're like, oh my God, wearing masks, how crazy. Like this movie addresses like the mental exhaustion of the entire pandemic. It's great. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Everyone should go see Kimmy or go watch it. It's on HBO Max. Don't let this movie like be lost to the sands of times. It's very good.
Zoe Kravitz, and that's Zoe Kravitz from After Earth.
Oh my God. I almost corrected you. It was like, she was absolutely not in After Earth, and she fucking definitely wasn't After Earth.
Absolutely. Because I was thinking to myself, like, she's kind of getting a push right now between
big time.
The Batman obviously blowing
the
up.
1-2 punch of Kimmy and the Batman. I'm like high on the Zoe Kravitz train right now.
Right. But you got to remember where it started. So
it started with After Earth, folks. The great film After Earth. Oh, God.
Today we are not talking about After Earth. We are talking about Ridley Scott's second movie, Alien,
aka Way After Earth.
Way After Earth.
All right, let's get in the Nostromo and start talking about Alien.
Moving on to second position.
We've got this far. We must go on. We have to go on.
It doesn't look like an SOS. It looks like a warning.
It seems to have life. Wait a minute, there's movement.
What the hell is that?
You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? Perfect organism.
The emergency destruct system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10 seconds.
Oh God, it's moving right towards you.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, where do we start with this freaking movie?
Where do we start? I just want you to start with maybe like, what's your history with Alien? Like, how far back can you
the
remember?
first time I saw Alien, I don't know. I remember listening to it in the womb. No, just no. I remember being very young and getting the special edition boxed VHS set, and just I think even before that I had the first two movies separately. So I burnt the hell out of these VHSs. I was always more of a fan of the second one a little more because
I think most people are. I think that movie has a little bit more of a following just because of its, I don't know, it's more action packed, you know?
It's the shift in format from the slow burning horror slasher ish to the action. And I think that is a better lens for the xenomorph to be seen through. However, there's not a lot of people that agree. Like, this is still a preferred, like my mom likes this one more.
Yeah. I think this is like, I mean, not to start this conversation, but like I'll come out saying I like this movie a lot more than Aliens.
There you go.
I like Aliens to me is like, I watch it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, perfect. Like, it's a perfect movie. Like, I can't argue with it. But then this one it's the same thing for me with Terminator and T2. Like, sure. I like that slow burn, very simple, brutal sort of the energy of these two movies. I don't know. That's more in my lane, obviously. But how about me? How about me with Alien? This is my second time ever watching Alien. I had not seen Alien until maybe 3 years ago. That was probably the first time I watched Alien.
I think I remember you telling me the first.
I think
time
I did because I knew you loved Alien. I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch like all these Alien movies.
Yeah, I think you saw it in August of that year.
you have it written down in your notebook now?
No, I just
August 2020.
Yeah,
it was hot when I watched it. I remember I was in the
because I think I was at camp.
Wow, you really do remember.
Yes, I do.
You really do care.
Well, I mean, anytime anyone sees Alien, especially people I care about, it's a big event for me.
Oh man, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
I loved Alien. I think it's a good movie, and this is the second time I watched it, and I thought it was good again. I don't know what to tell you, folks. It's Alien.
There are things that, maybe worked a little better for 1979.
Okay, you want to get into this now?
We can.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of still. I'm kind of doing like a little overview of the movie in a sense.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, for instance, you watch the director's cut.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna write that down because I do want to talk about that. But yes, I did watch the director's cut.
There are a couple differences.
I cannot wait for you to dive into this because it was so funny when I texted you. I'm watching the director's cut. You immediately texted me like 2 or 3 separate texts being like, oh, that's the version with this very specific thing. And I'm like watching the movie. I'm like, how did he know that's different? Such a minuscule little, like the slap. You were like, oh, that's the version with the slap. And I'm like, wait, that one time that one woman slapped another woman, that's enough for you to know?
Well, it makes sense. That's a good addition to the director's cut. There's some things that I like that he did and some things that I didn't like.
Do you know like the differences between the two like pretty intimately?
The 3 important things, there's 4 or 5 things that he changed.
Okay.
I want to say, but
it's
there's
really
3.
like really small changes, right?
Yeah, there's 3. Well,
this isn't like a thing where like there's a whole half hour of extra footage or anything.
No.
I think it's actually like a minute shorter than the theatrical cut.
Yeah, well, that's one of the scenes he actually takes out like a big chunk.
Okay.
And it actually -2 intelligence or intuition on Ripley because it does have a little effect on her character. It's when she's talking about Ash and she states that she doesn't trust him. And Dallas has a line
so he probably I'm guessing he took that out because he's like, I don't want to lead people to the right conclusion. I kind of want to keep it ambiguous.
Well, what it does is it takes away from Ripley's character, but it adds to the overall mystery of Weyland-Yutani, the overarching
the corporation, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's not even mentioned by name in this movie, but you do see it on certain cups and little details around, like on the ships. And that's another thing that works great with this movie is, you're dealing with dual villains. you're not just dealing with the xenomorph, but
we'll get to Ash, because that's probably, to me, that is like the masterpiece touch on this movie is Ash. But
and that's the crazy. It wasn't even in the original script. That was in a rewrite.
So let's talk about the script really quick. This movie is written by Dan O'Bannon,
yes,
who is no longer with us, and when he was with us, he was a bit of a madman. You can go look up crazy interviews. He's just said the craziest shit. But he wrote a movie before this called Dark Star, which was John Carpenter's first movie.
Yes.
Have you seen Dark Star?
No, I have not.
Okay.
But
I don't know
is it a comedy?
Okay, it is a comedy. I think it's hysterical. It absolutely bombed when it came out. And I think there's some story where I think like Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter went to a theater where Dark Star was playing, and they were like, oh, is the audience laughing? And like the person at the box office was like, what audience? And they went inside. There was like no one in there. And like the people who were in there were just like stone faced. Like it's a very dry, like satirical comedy. And like I can see people in the 70s not really catching on to the weird things it's making fun of because it's really specific. But Dark Star's a great like stoner comedy version of like 2001. It's awesome.
Okay. All right.
But anyways, so Dan O'Bannon is sort of pissed off that like no one took Dark Star seriously. And he's like, well, if they don't want me to make them laugh, I'll fucking scare the shit out of them. And he essentially rewrites it and it becomes Alien.
Yeah, he actually was originally, he thought he was going to direct, but that didn't obviously happen.
Probably good thing.
Right.
I don't think we'd be talking about this movie if Dan O'Bannon directed it.
Yeah, I guess who is it? The producers, when they saw The Duelists, were just really hype about Ridley Scott. And
well, I can understand why, because that movie rules.
Right. So I mean, he was kind of like the hot ticket at town. When they offered it to Tom Skerritt, he originally was not about it, because I think in the initial offer it was like $3 or $4 million, and there was no Ridley Scott. And like it wasn't until after they got like Ridley Scott and then bumped the budget to, I think it's, what is it now, 11 million?
10
I think
million,
I saw 11.
Okay, yeah, it's probably like just shy of 11.
Either way,
like
but once they got in at the time, 1979,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's
Tom Skerritt,
not a lot of money, but that's a pretty good chunk.
Good chunk of change. Might as well talk about the cast while we're at it.
Yeah, we can talk about the cast.
Or where you kind of wanting to go. We can go.
I just had one other thing I wanted to like say, but about not even the production, but sort of the kind of inspiration for Ridley Scott taking this role or this movie on, because I believe after The Duelist, he was going to make another period piece. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but then he saw Star Wars and he was like, "Oh, right, he's like special effects, fucking driven sci-fi is the way to go. Like, let's do this." And then obviously he gets a hold of Dan O'Bannon and he sees Dark Star and he likes it, and he sees Star Wars and he's inspired by that. And obviously we already mentioned he was just sort of born from 2001: A Space Odyssey, so he's got that on the brain. So all these things are sort of churning in his head when he takes on Alien, and that's sort of where he's coming from, which is cool. Like I love to hear Ridley Scott watching Star Wars and being like, "Oh, I should do this."
Yeah, well, it might have been O'Bannon or whoever it was. He didn't think they could. Whoever the first guy they were in line for, it might have been O'Bannon, didn't want to take the responsibility because he couldn't handle the special effects. Like he thought it was going to be too much, which is it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because not only did Ridley Scott step up to the plate, he created this.
Right.
It's like
this is okay. Yeah. So this is where you
took your shot and you smashed it,
like annihilated it. The thing about Alien that I obviously don't like this movie as much as you, because you sort of think this is like maybe Mount Rushmore.
I mean, that's the thing. Does it go in sci-fi? Does it go in horror? No. One of the things that makes this another aspect that makes this movie amazing is it blends two genres.
Yes. Yeah. No, but what I was getting at is like, there's some stuff about this movie that I'm like, okay, I've got some notes. You know what I mean? Like nothing crazy. I think this is basically a masterpiece, but like to me, like this is so impressive to me because it's absurdly ambitious for 1979.
Right.
I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, this is insane that he thought he could just pull this off on a $10 million budget. And the fact that he basically succeeds, I would say like pretty much with aplomb. Like that's the thing that's impressive about this movie. There's stuff in it where I'm like, okay, like I can see some strings, I can see some seams. Obviously, it's this fucking 1979, and he's dealing with this weird inhuman H.R. Geiger like creation. He's got this insane set. The set of this movie,
right? I mean,
absurd. And then like then you get to Ash, and you're like, okay, all right, for $10 million, I don't know how you fucking did it, dude. So like, it's just such an ambitious movie. It's so good.
I think everything you just said is all damn near perfect. I don't think the characters get enough credit in this movie. Like, they seem so real and human. Like,
let's talk about the cast. Let's talk about the cast. I'm fucking stoked about it.
We have to, because Ridley Scott intentionally casted older for this film.
Good call, Ridley Scott. Good call.
And that gave them more of he wanted more of a, I think it originally was supposed to be some more science fiction, and it was turned into kind of like the truckers in space. Like,
I love it. This is what I love.
And these
blue collar, they all wake up out of their pods, and you're thinking like, all right, the captain's going to take command of the ship, and then like the second in command, you're thinking that, and it's like, no, fucking Harry Dean Stanton crawls out with like a trucker hat on, and then like Yaphet Kotto comes out talking about union dues or whatever, and I'm like, what is this? This is awesome. And like, I don't want to keep coming back to Dark Star because it's such a different movie, but like, it's a very similar idea with Dark Star, where it's like a bunch of blue collar guys. The way that he pulls it off in this movie is just leagues better, because like these characters come out of their pods in the beginning, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, I get everything that's going on here.
Oh, they're just so tired. Like they're it just feels like they're
okay. I just want to like I want to say this right off the bat. I don't think he's like my favorite character or anything. Yaphet Kotto gets my fucking MVP award though. He's so
great.
I love Yaphet Kotto so much. He's so funny in this.
No, I mean, he's that. I'm telling you, him and Harry Dean Stanton's characters,
they're the best.
They're the so two mechanics on the crew. Obviously, there's Captain Dallas, Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
In this movie, she's Warrant Officer Ripley.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not about that. I know eventually she becomes lieutenant. I always call her Lieutenant Ellen Ripley because I'm not about that warrant officer.
She's not a lieutenant in this though.
Whatever.
Right?
Yeah, she's not. She's it's
because this isn't like a military
Ripley.
Ship.
No, I know, but I think she maybe gains that rank when she fights with the Space Command or the Space Marines.
Sure.
In the whatever. Sure. I had all the toys. I loved all the toys. Like for 10 years, I wanted to go out as Halloween as the Xenomorph because I just loved the look of it. H.R. Geiger's design for this creature
rocks. If you just go and look up H.R. Geiger art, you will feel like you're watching like a black metal music video, and it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah, no, all that freaks me out though. Like,
yeah, well, this freaks you out, and it was like exactly the kind of black light posters I had in my little goth room when I was growing up.
Yeah, you were just raging out hard with your black nail paint. But no, I feel like this is the perfect amount for H.R. Geiger that I can take, and that's why everyone likes it, because it's a it's a creature.
It's true. Yes,
it's not like obviously their aliens design of like, I guess when they take over an environment, their habitat tends to get a little more H.R. Geiger-y as it goes.
So good.
Like the deeper into the lair. But no, the alien, it's pretty cool. But that's what works. All right, let's go through the set. We got the
let's go through the cast here. Let's start up top with Dallas.
Oh, Tom Skerritt.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, didn't really want to do the project, and then once Ridley got on board and the budget went up, he was all about it because he thought there was something special here, according to interviews that I've watched. But once those two things were in line, he was all about it.
Okay.
He's like, let's do it.
Dallas doesn't do a lot for me. I think he's fine. I think Dallas is like sort of a boring captain. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what he should be doing.
There's a lot of times you can see kind of like him, the wheels are turning, what he's trying to do. Like that's like, as the movie's unfolding and different things are happening, and they like kind of the whole crew will like you'll see their whole heads like shift to him because he's the captain. Yeah. And you can kind of see the wheels thinking with like what he wants to do, their plan of action. Okay, two teams do this, where it feels like a sweet captain. He's trying. Does he fail? Yes, because he doesn't realize what he's up against.
Of course he's gonna fail. Like
He doesn't know he's up against the perfect creature, perfect specimen.
Oh God, he's so cool. All right. I don't really have much to say about Tom Skerritt. He's probably the one character for me where I'm like, pass. Like, not that I don't think he's good or anything. It's just like, if you want to talk about one character from Alien, I'm just going to be like, Dallas, I don't know. He's fine. Whatever.
I do have a beef with, I'm kind of on the same train. Dallas does what he can. He's no match for the xenomorph. He gets smoked.
And he's boring. Like, fucking Harry Dean Stanton gets smoked too, but like, I could talk about his character all day. That guy's a grub. I love it.
By normal standards, this should be a boring trip.
Exactly.
This should be a normal, they're just en route and things happen.
Do you know what they carry?
Ore.
Okay. They're carrying
ore
on the Nostromo.
I believe it's 25 million tons of ore.
God, the things you know about this movie. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wish Captain Dallas knew the same things I knew.
I wish he did.
With us.
Yes, he'd be with us today. Is Tom Skerritt still with us?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
One of the two surviving members of the Nostromo in real life.
That is a sad fact. Most of
Cartwright's still with us.
Veronica Cartwright is still here.
But I mean, the rest of them are dead.
As far as acting goes, I think she probably gets my MVP.
Cartwright?
She's so good in this.
Wow. I'm shocked to hear you say that.
She's so well. The thing about Veronica Cartwright's character, Lambert, in this movie, is Ridley Scott used her almost as a vessel for the audience.
It's a perfect,
So, and I just love that as a device. Like every time she's freaking out, the audience should be free, and it works so well.
That's
and
a good point.
She's so nasty with her faces. I love.
Well, she's
the
a pro.
fear.
Like she did a fucking Hitchcock movie. Like she can sell this stuff like it's
like I just got goosebumps right now thinking about the blood splashing on her face. By the way, most people know that she didn't know that was coming.
Classic Hollywood story. Yeah, she didn't know that was coming. That's like a genuine.
Oh
reaction.
God! Yeah, no, it's money. Veronica Cartwright's so good.
All right, let's talk about Ripley. Or do you want to save Ripley for last?
We have to save.
Okay, fine. We'll save her for last. Are we done talking about Cartwright? Did you have anything else to say? I think Veronica Cartwright's good in this.
Money in the bank.
All right, fucking my boy Harry.
I think she won a Saturn Award for her performance.
Yeah, this movie got a couple Saturn Awards, I'm sure. I know this won like the best visual effects Oscar, which like understood.
It did win. Yep.
Correct.
Yep. 100%. I saw one interview behind the scenes where they're saying in the initial stages that this was before Star Wars. But that doesn't, I looked up the dates and that didn't make sense.
I mean, maybe at a script stage.
Sure. It had to.
I want to say Dark Star came out before Star Wars. Technically, and like this is basically just a remake of Dark Star, but with like a horror paint over it.
Okay, that's not a bad thing. Are you hearing this, people?
No, listen.
How he's just slandering, just sneaking in
not
these subtle attacks.
Dark Star is Dan O'Bannon's script, and then he goes, "Well, they didn't like it funny. Let me do it again, but with horror." And then it was a masterpiece. Like I'm not saying anything bad. It's just the facts.
That's one. That's
All
on
right.
the. That's the.
All right. Can we talk about fucking Harry Dean Stanton?
Can we?
Come on. This guy, this shaggy dog. I love this man.
He, I guess in his initial talks with Ridley Scott, he goes, I don't like science fiction or monster movies.
Yeah, I can believe
and Ridley
that.
Scott goes, I don't either, but I think I can make something out of this.
Okay.
And
I'm surprised that Harry Dean Stanton was just like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette instead.
Right.
I love him so much.
Right.
He just looks like a cigarette. He's the best.
He does kind of look like a cigarette. I'm telling you, this cast feels like I've worked in some factories.
It's so good.
This cast looks like they'd be in a factory.
This really does. I would say, aside from Sigourney Weaver, who looks like a goddess, this really does look like a blue collar fucking group of people. This does not look like. It doesn't seem like a Hollywoodized factory worker setting. I could see fucking Yaphet Kotto and like Harry Dean Stanton bitching about the man on their lunch break. Like
for sure. The first thing these two characters, the two mechanics, do when they wake up, they start bitching about their bonuses.
So good.
I need to get in and just the whole contract talk. You'll get what you're contracted to. I love all that.
It's great.
It's great. It gives so much there.
So like, I'm probably gonna have questions for you, but like those two are specifically constantly bitching about getting their bonuses and getting what they're owed.
Yeah, they're trying to make the money.
Right. And I totally get that. But it also seems like Ripley's job is to like whip them in line. And I'm like, is she working for the company and they're contractors? How is that, like, what's the setup here? Why is she less invested in like the bonus system?
No, she's just confident with that they're going to get paid. She even that one scene where she's like,
okay,
you're obligated by law to get a share.
Right.
She just knows she's getting paid, while the other two guys are like trying to, everyone's trying to get a little. Nothing changes. Yeah. People are just trying to get paid.
Oh God. Anyways, Harry Dean Stanton rocks and rolls in this movie. I love him so much. And one day we'll do David Lynch and we'll talk even more about Harry Dean Stanton. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And you'll be miserable.
No, I don't think I'll be miserable. I think David Lynch has some good films, but Harry Dean Stanton is solid as one of the mechanics here. Very reliable. That's the main thing I got from the two mechanics, is just so down to earth, so real. So there's points right there. And that's how I feel about this entire ensemble cast, is I'm getting way more, I feel like +2 on Ridley Scott's script for this movie as opposed to The Duelist, where The Duelist had, it was obviously it was a timepiece.
Yeah.
The language, the vocabulary was a little different. This just felt like,
this feels great. This feels good. I like it.
So personal.
All right, so we're done talking about Harry Dean Stanton. Let's now talk about the British Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt.
John Hurt,
I
R.I.P.
think it's really funny to cast both of them in this movie. They look very similar. They both kind of have that sort of like scraggy dog thing, and like John Hurt just has a little bit more elegance because he has like one of the greatest voices ever.
He does have a great voice.
He does unfortunately play a fool in this movie.
Well, and that's the executive officer Kane made a couple mistakes. This originally wasn't John Hurt. I think it was John Lynch or John Finch. Finch is his name.
Okay. Well, this is better.
Yes, I guess John according to Ridley Scott, like the very first scene, first take, John Finch got really yellow and had to be rushed to emergency.
Whoa.
And it turned out he had diabetes, so they brought in John Hurt. And
upgrade.
I mean,
sorry.
No offense, but huge. I think John Hurt's great here as Kane.
He's a legend.
Probably the least.
He doesn't really have much to do. He just has to have like one of the most iconic death scenes of all time. That's like honestly it.
Yeah, the only other time you get a lot of Kane is him exploring the ship and the eggs.
Yeah.
When they get there, because he is doing a lot of talking. He's documenting the whole trip down there, which is fun because you get a lot of Kane there.
Great.
But you also get he's basically narrating his death at this point.
Yeah, he's like, I think I'm gonna fucking die soon. Anyways, I'm gonna open this egg up real quick.
Oh, it's like, I see something moving.
Maybe I'll eat it. I don't know.
Oh, it's squirming around.
It's true.
It's smiling at me. Oh, now it's on my face now.
It's eating me. Yeah, it's eating me. Oh, God, poor Kane. Let's talk about Parker real quick. My boy, fucking Yaphet Kotto.
R.I.P. again.
R.I.P. again. Yaphet Kotto to me, one of the like most. He's just got this incredible.
I think you can say iconic. I mean,
he's iconic.
Kinda.
He's certainly.
Wait,
iconic.
he's the first black actor to ever kill a cop on screen?
Is that true?
Yeah, like
in what?
Childish Gambino made that nasty song about him. I mean, it's not, when I say nasty, I mean awesome, because it's Childish Gambino.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yaphet Kotto's sweet.
Yaphet Kotto rules because he can play extreme menace, like because he's such an imposing figure. He's such a big guy, and he has this great voice and this like sort of heavy like look to him. But then
he's got the smile,
exactly. He
looks like he's having a great time.
Exactly.
He reminds me of like a fun, goofy uncle kind of.
He's great in,
especially in this role.
He's great in Midnight Run as like the FBI agent. He's great in Blue Collar. I don't know if no one's seen Blue Collar, but Blue Collar's he's so good in it. He's the best. I love Yaphet Kotto. I think he's great.
Wait, Midnight Run, is that the De Niro?
Yeah, De Niro and Charles.
He's
Grodin.
he's the guy.
He's the FBI guy who like keeps following them around.
He steals his ID.
De Niro steals his ID.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
To be
I love that movie. That's great.
Yeah, Midnight Run's great.
Yeah, he's great. Again, just like I already went on with Harry Dean Stanton, just very human, very real. I believed everything.
The two of them are great together.
Just the initial look when there's the initial breakfast when Captain Dallas is walking around with the milk. you get the little
Yes.
Dean Stanton, like just bringing up the bonuses. Like, let's bring up the bonus. Like, are you ready?
Yaphet Kotto also has this like great line when they're eating. And it's like, I don't know. The shot is like sort of this panoramic shot where it's like the camera's sort of scanning over all of them.
I love that they've been sleeping like in hibernation this whole time. And the first, like the very, like right off the bat, they want to get paid.
They're like, what about our money? Yeah.
So wait, go ahead.
Oh god. No, there's just a really great moment like where I'm assuming it was improvised. If not, like it's a great moment in the script, whatever. But there's this really great human moment where they're all eating together. And like the camera's sort of just wandering around the crew, like letting you kind of get acclimated with who's who. And one of them says something about how the food tastes like shit. And Yaphet Kotto just really quickly is like, yeah, it ain't very good. You know, I've had worse. I've had better too. You know, like he's just like sort of immediately goes into this really naturalistic, like commiseration about bad space food. And it's like, what? This is great.
So good. So human. Love it. The way you're scarfing that shit down, like when Kane's eating like that, it's great. And any meal scene, you know, there's a chance something bad might happen in an alien movie, but you also are going to get some very good human banter. So
finally,
but before we even get there,
we got one.
I love Ridley. Yeah. Oh,
we got one more. We got to talk about Ian Holm. He plays Ash. This is, to me, an absurdly good performance.
Well, this should be our this is our attachment right here. This is Ian Holm. He plays Bilbo Baggins.
This is my boy Bilbo.
This is your favorite franchise, my favorite franchise.
I guess so. Together. Yeah.
And he's great in both movies. He's so. I agree. He plays Ash.
This is such a cool role because like the first time you watch the movie, you're obviously not really supposed to know what he is. And me watching it a second time, I'm like kind of paying extra attention to Ian Holm. And he is so deceptively good at like, he'll give someone a side eye here. He'll sort of make a look where you're like, that's a little suspicious, but it's not enough for like the audience to be like, what's this guy's fucking problem? Like he's pretty likable throughout the whole movie, but every now and then he gives you just a little bit of that deception. And it's so perfectly measured on his part. When like the tables turn at the end, I'm just like, this is the best. This is the best ever. He's so good.
When, spoiler alert, he does turn, there is a twist where he is revealed
pretty
to be
big
an android.
fucking twist.
Very good twist.
I don't want to underline or like, you know, undercut. The twist of this movie is batshit crazy.
The first time you do see it, I mean, I can't even remember the first time I've seen it, but
I've only seen it twice, and I still like. I'm just like, how do you pull this off? How do you just do this in a movie where you're just like, oh, and by the way, here's this whole other thing that we're going to deal with.
Other thing.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Right. And Holm is
because throughout the movie, he's just known as Science Officer Ash.
Yeah, well,
as they are kind of investigating and going throughout the plot of the movie, there's little things that he does that most people would be like, that shouldn't happen. They should definitely kill this thing, or they should definitely not do, you know, and he's deliberately going against it. And you find throughout the course of the movie that he's actually been kind of aiding the creature and keeping it alive.
Yeah.
Because
it's such
the company that he works for wants, you know, it's a freaking alien. It's a keep that organism alive. Let's study it. Let's probably weaponize it. And let's, you know,
the whole moment, the whole reveal is like perfectly directed. It's so good. It's probably my favorite moment of Sigourney's performance is that whole reveal. Let's talk about Sigourney now.
And then we get to Sigourney Weaver.
Okay. You like this performance in this character? Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's just where do I start? Originally, when the script was written, there was a note at the bottom that said any of these roles can be interchangeable with gender and whatnot, because they wanted to leave it open for merchandising, obviously. But they weren't expecting, I guess the original writers weren't expecting them to change the character of Ripley from a male to a female. It just had never been done. They were okay with it. And then once, you know, everyone was talking it over, they're like, oh, wait, this could make this movie even more unique what it already could be, you know, because it's
definitely, I mean, it makes it a landmark kind of movie.
Is this the first time there's never been a female lead in a sci-fi movie
I mean,
there's obviously
off the top of my head, I would
find the criteria.
I mean, I wouldn't, but like
you can fit anything. But
Ripley does feel sort of like very, very, very early, if not like the first great female like hero in
the performance. I think is obviously spectacular. If it wasn't, this movie wouldn't be half as good. If it had some cheesy performance out of its lead, it would, I don't think it'd be taken seriously half as it is and was at the time. But because of Sigourney Weaver's performance as Ellen Ripley, being that anchor of this movie and eventual other movies, it's just it's wonderful.
Her performance is so iconic and like powerful that it warrants an entire franchise. This movie does not warrant a franchise, in my opinion. Like, the movie itself is great. I don't finish this movie and go like, oh man, I got fucking know more about all these characters or whatever. I love this movie, but like, that's not my first takeaway. This movie's so good that when they come back to it and they're like, we're going to make a new Alien movie, they're like, we have to get Sigourney. That's the key thing. You know what I mean? And then that stays the key thing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I think obviously the xenomorph has standing power. It has legs, like the creature itself.
You kind of need
right?
it.
But I agree. Especially when the credits roll and the last thing you see is her face fading out into space. That whole transition.
Yeah,
it leaves you wanting to know more about the character. That the ending monologue, the last survivor of the Nostromo.
Yeah,
signing off. That it's epic. Yeah, I'm like, oh fuck yeah. It's great. Ripley's badass and Sigourney Weaver is badass.
Can I come in with my hot take on Ripley?
Okay.
I think she's great. I actually don't think she's a badass, which is sort of why I love her. She's a badass in Aliens. That's when she becomes a badass.
Sure.
This movie, she's fucking incredible because she's the pragmatic one who doesn't really take any bullshit and she knows her job. But it's not like she's going out there being like, give me the fucking flamethrower. I'm going to fucking whatever,
sure. No, I definitely agree that she does become like this uber, like
she becomes like a warrior later, which like is not her vibe.
I'm awesome. I love that even more. That hashtag my Ripley, but she's always been my Ripley. And you see shades of it here because, there's, she'll be like beaten down and crying, but she's still like grabbing things and like pushing through. And that's what makes this character so freaking money, is the fact that she's breaking down as she's going through all this. She doesn't necessarily want to take charge, but she will. Like she absolutely will.
This is the kind of like origin story shit that I love when movies pull this off. It's this and Evil Dead are very similar to me in this way, where like you watch Evil Dead, you're getting introduced to all the characters in the beginning. You're not looking at Bruce Campbell going like, that's the fucking hero of the movie. And at no point does he become the hero of the movie. Like he just sort of ends up being the last one alive because he's maybe the most resilient in some way. And then by the end of the movie where he's fucking like, grinning from ear to ear with all the blood on his face. And you're like,
actually the series Evil Dead made it so that he was touched by the no, just kidding.
Oh, God, you nerd.
I know he hates the expanded lore.
I do. No, but like the same thing happens with Ripley here, where like at any point in the movie, like basically for the first like hour, honestly, you could tell me that like Yaphet Kotto is going to be the hero of the movie, or Harry Dean Stanton. I'd be like, oh, okay, sure. Like this is the guy who's maybe not Harry Dean Stanton. I don't think he's making it through.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't think you're thrusting the light on him.
But like very obviously,
natural movie, like natural. I feel like everyone would be like, oh, it's obviously Dallas. He's the captain.
Dallas, right? Yeah, right. You could convince me Yaphet Kotto. You could convince me John Hurt until he fucks up right away. But like, there's a couple characters where I'm just like, yeah, this is cool, whatever. And Ripley does not. No one in the beginning of this movie really starts out in the center, but Ripley takes a while to like step forward as like the character who you're going to start rooting for, which I love. And like, it is so unforced. It almost feels like improvisational in a way where like at some point in the shooting, they were like, she's the one sort of connecting most on the camera. Let's start giving her more to do, which obviously isn't the case, but like,
well, yeah,
it just feels so natural.
With the fact that it starts with like, she's third in command. She's not even second in command.
Who's second in command?
Kane is second.
He's second in command. Okay.
He's the executive officer. So the fact that the movie, like, I think that that's another thing. Like I love it when Dallas is like making these decisions, because you can see him not like, I don't know, he's not really, he's taking charge, but he's like unsure kind of, and he's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Like,
yeah.
So when there's no hesitation. And when she goes to ask Ash for information, Ash, is there any update from Mother? Like,
right.
Oh no,
Mother,
I'll get answer. I have access now. I'll get access. I'll get my own answers. You know, she has no problem being the number 3, but if circumstances needed, she's so, like you said, pragmatic. She's just a natural born leader, and that shows as the movie progresses.
It's brilliant.
But when, God, when she's,
that's the master stroke. That for me, that's the master stroke of her character. Is like the movie starts, and I don't particularly have like much interest in her, but just that slow build. It's not like the thing where like the movie starts and like the woman steps out and proudly takes control. None of that happens. Like, it's just sort of like, nope, this is the crew. They've all got their jobs, and as things progress, you're like, wait, Ripley's the one who's got her shit on lock. Like, she's the one doing everything correctly. Everyone else is panicking or fucking up. And Ripley is the one saying, no, we can't break quarantine. I'm not letting you fucking back in the ship. Like, that's one of my favorite moments in the movie, too, is when they all come back with Kane and he's clearly fucking infected. And she's like, I'm not letting you in here. Like, that's not protocol. We're all going to get sick. And guess what? She was fucking right. Like, it's brilliant. It's really good. It's really, really good, elegant, like very natural character development. It's wonderful.
Yeah, this, like we said, we can go on about Ripley all day. She is, in my opinion, I think she's the AFI's, the American Film Institute's. I know she's in the top 3 female heroines of all time.
She's got to be number 1. Who's better?
She probably is.
Leia? Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. But you know, it's money in the bank with this performance. None. You know, I can't imagine the franchise being what it is without her performance. And
it wouldn't be what it is. It just wouldn't.
No. So the cast is money. The last but not least is, well, we've spoken about the xenomorph a lot, but the actor that played the xenomorph.
Oh, yeah. What is his name?
I can't pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. I'm sorry. I just want to say he was great as this creepy alien. Ridley Scott deliberately.
Yeah, they just got like an incredibly tall man, right? Like a really tall, skinny guy.
I want to say it's like Boko or
it's Balaji Badejo.
Okay. Wow.
He's Nigerian.
Yes, he also passed.
Yeah. Well, I think he passed pretty young because he was so tall. I think it was one of those things where like,
yes,
but yeah. I mean, I know that they cast him because he was so like slender. Because you got to have someone tall to be that imposing, but then you also need someone who's pretty fucking skinny, because you're putting a padded suit on them, and you don't want them to be bulky, right? Like,
it's a lot of layers
because that's the one thing about this movie is like there are a couple shots of the alien where I'm like, that's clearly a guy in a suit. He's very, very wise about cutting around it and like putting him in shadows or like obscuring him in pipes or cutting really quickly. But there's like 1 or 2 shots where I'm like, okay, that's just like a dude in a costume, and I can tell.
There are, I mean, eventually you have to show a little bit. I mean, that's the thing with these, monster movies. Like, well, that's the big thing here. I think this is one of the things that started this craze. Is Ridley Scott deliberately invoked Hitchcock by showing less of this monster. Like, that was a big thing he wanted to do. He wanted to, you know, like you said, obscure it.
Like Jaws.
Yeah, exactly like Jaws, and that works. I love any shot of the creature. I was drooling. This creature is gold to me.
I think, listen, this is a very like minute disagreement you and I are going to have, because it's not like a thing that I'm like passionate about, but I just like, there are a couple scenes, especially the scene at the end where he's getting like sucked out of the airlock, where I'm like, yeah, that's just like a guy in a suit. Whereas like Aliens is so much more improved in that department, because I think James Cameron listen, not to poo-poo Ridley Scott, but like, we're talking about James Cameron. He's essentially the master of technology. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
He doesn't, like, Ridley Scott's great. He's a visual genius, all that stuff. He doesn't hold a fucking flame to James Cameron when it comes to like being visually inventive.
Technically speaking.
But like,
I am going to go on record and say, like you said, this is 2 for 2 with the set pieces.
The atmosphere of this movie is off the fucking charts.
So sitting down to watch this movie, I wanted to, obviously I love the Xenomorph, always have, always will, but I wanted to kind of, this is a fresh start. So I wanted to kind of go into it with an open mind.
Sure.
And I wanted to dive into why I loved this franchise as much as I did.
Okay.
And so as I'm watching, obviously you got the slow draw in with the opening title.
The opening title is like
awesome.
One of the coolest things.
Show me more space. I love space.
Just slow space while the word alien slowly forms on screen, like one angle of a letter at a time.
Oh,
I watched this with my girlfriend Jessica, who had never seen it, and we like
really,
started, yeah, and we like started the movie, and this opening title sequence starts, and by the time the word alien is on screen, she's just like she just went, that was fucking cool, and I'm like, yeah, it was fucking cool. Just slow space, we love it.
Yes. And the music, perfect, haunting, chilling, fits, great.
Then you get into the ship.
You get into this freaking ship. You get
this
the
dingy thing.
Well, you get from the outside shot first, which is this monstrous. Just
the one thing I would never really, I can't. The two times I've watched this movie, I don't really understand how big the Nostromo is. Like
huge.
My brain isn't like attaching them, because when they're inside, it's this tiny little thing with like 2 hallways, and I'm like, cool, got that. And then they like cut to the outside, and I'm like, wait, it's a Death Star? How big is this thing? I don't really understand it.
And that's actually aided by the fact that the tunnels and the corridors are made to be shot in such a claustrophobic way.
It's brilliant.
But no, it is a giant refinery ship.
Okay.
It makes you wonder how, this is way in the future, but how they ever would get this thing off a planet. They might maybe even assemble it in space. I don't know, but this thing is gigantic.
Yeah.
So you enter the ship.
Dingy.
It's deathly quiet. The only thing you see moving is this little bird just going in and out of the water, this little toy bird. And then these old monitors spring to life when they start whizzing and beeping. And they actually made it a point to get very low res monitors. So it gave it and there's tape on the chairs. This is a rundown.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's a note I have. This is like maybe a little side tangent discussion thing we can talk about really quick.
Okay.
I love a dingy spaceship.
Yes.
And I think the Millennium Falcon has to be cited as like the godfather of dingy spaceships. I feel like that was the first time
it's getting dingier as it goes too.
Well, yeah. Like I feel like Star Wars, like Millennium Falcon, and honestly, the entire vibe of Star Wars, that was sort of the first time anyone did like a sci-fi movie that wasn't like sleek, shiny, everything's silver. Like he was just like, no, everything's gonna be dirty, kind of like worn out and old.
Sure.
So Millennium Falcon, iconic.
Yep.
And then you get the Nostromo in 1979. Just a real freight liner of a fucking ship. This thing is not luxurious at all.
No, not at all. A single frame, a single shot of any shot of the interior, there's a billion different things going on with this environment. I mean, his set pieces are so detailed. Oh my God. I feel like he went above and beyond to just really load this ship with as much.
It's absurd. Like it is claustrophobic in the best way possible. And there's just shit hanging off the walls where I'm like, none of that makes any sense.
Random
there's like
tubulars,
pipes. Yeah, tubes.
Like just
it's great. I love it. I love this ship. It's great. The other trashy, like dingy ship, Hall of Fame for me, the Nebuchadnezzar from The Matrix. That little buzzy fly ship, the inside of it. Everyone's wearing thermals, and like it's a similar
just
thing.
Hitting
it's like
EMPs and knocking itself out,
just looking like garbage. I love that shit. I love the Nebuchadnezzar.
It's pretty gritty.
That's my franchise, The Matrix.
These ships, they kind of become characters of their own, just like how Gotham kind of, when we reviewed Batman Begins, kind of took on a character. But
well, I mean, literally, this ship has mother. Like. Kind of
exactly
through it, so it does have the Nostromo has like a ton of personality. Just as for me, the inside of the Nostromo has a lot of personality, and the outside of it, I don't really understand what it looks like or how big it is, or
kind of like a beetle-ish bug.
Okay,
yeah, no,
I should look up what it looks like,
because
I don't think they get even like a full like exterior shot of it in this movie, like to give you
of the Nostromo.
Is there like a full?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
there is.
it opens with
Okay.
I think that's Spaceballs. Obviously, Star Wars opens with the
Spaceballs opening is the funniest.
The Star Destroyer slowly passing
the
through.
first time I saw Spaceballs, when that Star Destroyer is going and going and going, I was like 11, and I just remember crying. I was laughing so fucking hard.
Oh no, it's literally the same. I watched that movie with my cousins, and we just died every single time. No, the movie's hilarious.
Brilliant.
I love Rick Moranis. He's a god to me. So
we love him. We should do Mel Brooks.
We break for no one.
We break for no one.
Yeah. But yeah, Star Wars opens with the slow crawl of the spaceship. The Nostromo kind of also
similar. Okay.
Very similar. Nostromo's way big. Just it's massive. It's cool. That's why spoiler, when the shit Nostromo blows up, you get the triple explosions because there's so much firepower. Just the energy amount to fuel that craft is insane. And when it blew up, I mean,
is that? Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
Triple.
No, well, just like I think because I didn't understand how big that ship was and that it was full of like ores and probably the most insane amount of fuel ever. I didn't understand when it exploded at the end why it was so massive,
so trippy.
Because when it blows up at the end, I'm like, okay, why is it blowing up so much? Jesus, I get it. I guess that makes a lot more sense if I like scale it in my mind.
Yeah, no,
it's supposed to be.
The power behind that sucker is like a mini star. Like that thing is. Yeah.
This is why I need you. This is why I need you. You're
that's
able
fine.
To be like, no, James.
No, it's fine. There is that one like last shot where it's like goes yellow and like grid and like squares where it's like, whoa, 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, well, like I said,
but
he loves it.
I know. That's fine though. I totally bought it because that ship is giant and massive.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it. We're off. We're floating. The ship,
right? So you get again. Just gonna shout out how good the fucking sets are. You get this fucking awesome set of all these people sleeping in these pods that are like arranged in a circle, and they all start waking up.
Light slowly coming on.
They all seem so bothered.
Kane is the first one to kind of wake up, and does he go immediately for a cigarette? I feel like they all instantly go for cigarettes.
Well, no, Harry Dean Stanton comes out and he like coughs a cigarette up out of his lung. Yeah, no, they all just start eating cigarettes.
Lights his fingers.
It's so good. Yeah, I don't know. They all come out and like essentially like what we learn right away is like they have been woken up early. They're on their return home journey and they've been woken up halfway through because their ship has received a distress signal from some other
which that on its own I'm like, sweet, love that, let's go. Like how sweet is that for a movie start?
It's a great start for a movie. I don't know if this is just, it probably is, like
we have to go explore a strange signal on a planet because our computer AI has woken us up from sleep.
I've seen so many movies that are indebted to Alien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That are ripping off Alien or are inspired by Alien. Where like I watch this now and I'm like, no, it's a bad idea. You never go investigate the distress signal. It's never good.
Right.
You're never gonna like what you find. But obviously this is sort of an early use of that sort of plot technique. And it's like, okay, they're gonna go look into this and it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, no, and like you mentioned earlier, Mother is this the AI that runs the ship.
An AI, okay.
It is I think it's MU/TH/UR.
Dumb. Why can't it just be Mother?
Well, because they're abbreviated for things, obviously.
Mother.
Sure. That is obviously clearly borrowing from Hal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hal's fucking incredible. So I'm if it's between Hal and Mother, I'm going Hal all day.
Hal's a legend.
Mother doesn't have a voice.
We love
Hal has an iconic.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dave. Oh God, it freaks me out. There's another set, and maybe you can tell me what the set is, but it's that cool set where they go in and there's literally just glowing buttons everywhere. It's just like the same color button. They all look like the exact same button.
Oh, that's
like
Mother's
little
room.
LED light. That's like where they go and communicate with Mother.
I don't want to call it captain's quarters, but only the captain is allowed in that room.
Okay, because that room reminds me of 2001 a lot as well.
Yeah,
that's simple. Like
would cover a room in lights. You're gonna that's science fiction right there.
I know.
Now that I like kind of know how to code a little bit, so I was kind of looking at it from that. angle also, and I'm like, what do all these lights do? You know,
What are these things?
yeah, I don't think that's needed. Like,
No.
even like this, like turning on navigation lights, and it's a string of Christmas lights. You know,
I honestly, I love like old shitty like sci-fi shit like that, where like someone will walk into a room and they'll like pull on a toaster oven and like a laser beam will fire, and I'm like, wait, why does that look like?
I think like Star Wars, like one of their things,
the wiffle ball bats,
an ice cream maker that got turned into like a money transport device now in Mandalorian, and that they brought back. You know, like little things like that. But yeah, the blueprint to sci-fi is all over this movie that has been taken. There's so many things that have been borrowed from this movie and franchise over the time. But
all right, so let's get through this plot really quick, because I want you to sort of walk me through the sort of kill list, which I love. But they go and investigate this ship. They land on this. Is it a planet? It's a planetoid. They say planetoid.
Yeah, in the sequel, it is named LV-426.
For the love of that is. Are you just pulling that from memory?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, so they go to fucking this planetoid. No. Yeah, hey, nerd alert. They go to this planetoid, they land. It's this really intense sequence where it's like landing.
Now you
really
got the director's cut where you got to listen to the signal.
I did. I don't know the difference.
There's no it's completely different.
Okay, so in the director's cut is the sequence where they like get to hear.
Right.
I see.
And they're like, and it sounds just weird. You can't really make
it doesn't sound good. It sounds like they shouldn't go there.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So they land on this planet. They land really shitty, and like their ship gets fucked up, right? Like,
I think this is why I always one of the reasons why I preferred the second one growing up, Aliens, a very long, drawn out sequence of landing.
It's so long, and I'm just like, wait.
And as a kid, I was just like, I probably was
boring
bored with it, right? But now I can appreciate the level of detail that probably took in 1979 to create. And it also, this movie is a slow build. You don't really, the alien doesn't even happen until an hour into this film.
Yeah.
So you get an hour of world building, and it's a level of tenseness that escalates throughout this first hour.
Yep.
And it kind of, there's a little spike here and there, like, the ship, you see it land on LV-426 and it's off kilter, and there's sparks and there's jarring.
Is that what it is? They kind of land off like level?
Yeah, it landed on like a giant boulder. Right. It wasn't a clean landing. So
and then fucking now Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton got to go down into the bowels of the ship, and they're talking about dry docking, and I'm like, I don't know what that fucking means, but this sounds great.
Yeah, and they once again, money's brought up, and they're like, shit, this is going to take about 17 hours. Then they get the call from the captain. They're like, 25 hours.
I love that's such a good moment. Yeah, tell them it's going to take about 17 hours. It should be about 25 hours. It's so funny.
Human,
so
human
funny
dialogue.
Love
like this is what I would be if we were working, like
exactly
perfect.
Yeah.
So they decide to send out a 3-person crew of Kane, I want to say Lambert, and Dallas.
Yep, correct.
They go out and they are exploring the terrain of this as soon as they open the doors, they got their suits on.
Windy.
Just the windiest, rockiest, darkest, just very unhospitable planet that they're setting foot onto.
Reminds me of Chicago, am I right?
Oh, wow.
Shots fired.
Shots fired
across the lake, baby. Yeah, they go, okay, so let's fast track this really quick, because I want to get into like the fun stuff.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, I mean, I wish I could fast track their walk to the ship too, but you can't because you see it through this monitor. Ash and Rip. I know Ash is watching. I'm not sure if Ripley is, but
Ripley's down there trying to like negotiate with the fucking mechanics to do their job.
Well, he's like,
will you please just fix the ship?
She's telling. Oh, I love it. Love all
so
of it. And slowly you see on the monitor that Ash is watching this, and you see it from this perspective. I like that they did from this grainy look.
Yeah,
this giant ship.
This is
structure.
Incredible. I'm assuming this is like a matte painting that they used for a background, because this looks so classical. The way that they have this, like, it looks sort of like it looks like one of those pillows that you put on your neck when you go on an airplane. That's what the ship looks like. It's like a U.
Yeah. A little U.
There's this cool like blue glow to this scene. It looks amazing.
I know Ridley Scott's big into miniatures. And I know he built
for sure
the Nostromo's
is like tons of miniatures,
right? By the way, I wish they got brought back more. You know,
it looks so much better.
It's so
when
good.
it's done right. It looks so much fucking better than CGI. Well, everything.
That's a whole separate topic.
Yeah, you're right.
They make it to this ship. They're exploring. They're navigating through these hallways. You're starting to get a look of the interior of the ship.
I want to get to this central sort of chamber thing where there's like a big fucking telescope looking thing.
Yep.
And there's like a guy sitting in it or something. This is
sort
obviously
of big thing.
This is okay. You got a smirk on your face because this is obviously some sort of thing that they've like expanded upon in like later movies where it's like this moment in the Alien movie is the most important thing to the lore. And I'm like watching it and I'm like, looks pretty cool. Don't get it.
Well, I mean, nowadays we have toxic fandom where beloved properties are dissected for the tiniest detail and explored. So, I mean, this is one of the earliest cases. I feel like, well, any sci-fi is,
yeah.
You know, any horror, honestly. But fans will look into any single detail a gazillion times over until they figure it out and want to know everything.
But this thing is called the space jockey, right? This is what this is known as, the space jockey.
It is known as the space jockey, and for years people wanted to know the story behind the space jockey.
Is that what it was? Really, people were like, "That thing is so cool looking."
What is? Just want to know what happened to this ship.
It got fucked up by an alien. The same thing that happens to the next ship. We know.
Well, they just fucked
up by an alien.
Like, was this ship transporting the aliens? Was the aliens already on this planet? What, like, it burst? How did it get inside?
This is a conversation we should have.
You know, what was the space jockey doing with this giant fucking laser gun or telescope or whatever?
I mean, all about the big laser gun tube thing.
Sure.
But no, this is a conversation I'd like to have really quick. There are franchises. I think Alien is like a perfect example where, or I've even talked about with like Halloween, whatever. I don't know. There's tons of franchises like this. RoboCop is like
beloved cult,
huge franchises, right?
Yep.
Where I watched the first movie and I go, that was fucking perfect. I love everything about it.
Yes.
I don't want an ounce more. Like that's always my stance.
I would like the mystery.
Yeah, give me the like. I don't know how to.
You don't want it to be tarnished. If it's good,
you can imply these things to me, and it makes it so much more interesting than you coming out and saying like the space jockey was an alien god who was fucking like fertilizing Earth. I'm like, okay, now you've said it out loud. Now it is what it is, and now it's kind of boring. Like it's these things that like you dive deeper into the lore to explain these things, and they get more like Boba Fett. Fucking no one gives a shit about Boba
feel like
Fett.
It kind of waters it down,
waters it down, and it makes it boring. Like Boba Fett was mysterious and cool, and now he's got a TV show where he's like a hero. I'm like,
guy.
And his name is like Robert Fett. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's got taxes. Like, I don't care about this fucking guy.
Chill on that. I get it though. You're kind of like the doctor that sees the gynecologist that sees too many vaginas. You know, the thrill is gone.
The thrill is gone. But like, there are tons of franchises like this. And for the most part, I feel like this. This is just like my general feeling towards franchises where I will watch one movie and I'll be like, I get it. That was great. And then they dive deep into it. And I'm like, didn't care about any of this. And I feel like you are maybe on the other side of that fence where like you kind of love like getting
fucking
more.
Give me more.
Right. Okay. So you love that shit. And I know you love that shit, especially with Alien.
I want more of everything I love because I love it. And I want more to love.
You're just like fucking hook me up and just shove it down my throat.
Aliens is a bright spot in my life, and I want to be bathed in the light of its glory for as long as possible, as much as possible.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, I think you and I have sort of like different viewpoints on like, especially franchise filmmaking. Literally the only franchise I can think of where every time they make a new movie, I'm just like, I need to know more is The Matrix. That's like the only thing that I go hard for. We're talking about Alien today. This is a movie where I watch it and I want to like dissect it and like talk about the movie and the filmmaking and the story of Alien, not the story of Alien that will inspire the story of aliens that will inspire I don't want to get into that right now.
You don't need to know the life cycle of the xenomorph.
No, but it is cool when it is explained to me. I'm just like, when you and I are talking about it, I'm not so interested in the lore. Whereas when we do our Matrix episode, I will have a Bible with me and I will be like referring to every, like that's the only franchise that ever really did that for me.
And I like the Matrix too. I'll be taking notes. You know?
But like, I will say this, like Halloween, I watched that first movie. I think it's a masterpiece. I cannot imagine giving a fuck about a single sequel. Alien, I watched this movie. I think it's a masterpiece. Kind of intrigued. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Aliens, obviously.
The Xenomorph
Alien
creature
3.
does a little something more for you.
It's
than
a little
Michael Myers.
Yeah, like because every time they introduce a new element, like I know in Alien 3, when it like, what is it like? Get a dog or a
the dog
cow?
alien? Yes.
Yeah, I'm
The
like,
dog
oh,
alien.
wait. So the Xenomorph changes like forms based on what creature the fate. That's so interesting. Like I'm fascinated by that.
And there's a deleted scene in Alien 3
biology
where they hold up. It's called a royal face hugger because in that movie, you know, Ripley has the queen inside of her, and that's I diverse.
Alien 3, Alien 3 secretly.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Alien 3 fucking rules.
But that's I mean. I think that speaks to the volume of badassery of the creature. This is first and foremost a creature feature, right?
This is the thing. I'm not really interested in Weyland Yutani and like the company and what kind of shit. I don't really give a fuck about that. I am obsessed with the weird biology of this alien. This thing is so. It's two separate aliens, correct?
You're talking about like the life cycle and where it starts.
Okay,
like
well, let's really quickly let's get to Kane getting fucking. Okay, so Kane goes onto this ship. There's fucking eggs everywhere. It's not good.
Well, after they're exploring, they explore that space jockey chamber and they find this little burnt out. This is the acid, clearly an alien hole, like an acid burnt out thing. Yeah, that's something you might not want to go into. I don't know. They put the chain on his thing. They start lowering him down. I love his documentation, all of it. I'm lowering into the chamber now.
Yes,
he's got this very like John Hurts just on 10 right here. He slips and he gets up. He slips down, and you see this thin blue layer over these eggs.
Yeah, like a mist.
Yeah, like a blue mist. And he's like, he states, "Oh, it's reacting every time I touch it because it like opens up and moves a little bit." I always thought this thing was so cool, like just cool effect.
What is the mist?
I think the theory is that once the queen lays these eggs, that mist, enough of these eggs, that mist is formed to keep these eggs in hibernation until something living walks near its proximity.
Really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool and good. I like that.
Awesome. Love it.
Great.
Love it. Why did more of these eggs react? Because he was surrounded by them. Maybe it's the closest one. That's still a little bit of a mystery. But as he is looking at this egg in front of him, now he even notes it looks like an egg. And there's this cool shot where they're looking at, and it's kind of crazy because it looks like the black goo that's later used in Prometheus. But the shot looks like it's dripping upwards, and I don't know if he did
it's so cool,
really cool looking. I don't know if it's like has anything to do with the blue layer on top of it, but it just looks cool, and that's a cool shot. But as he's looking over this egg, he's documenting it looks organic in life. And there's a light. He puts a light on the egg.
Pretty good hurt. I'm not
you
gonna
like
lie.
that?
That's pretty good.
I watched it last night, and I feel like
it's pretty good. Yeah, and then the fucking egg opens up and a fucking face hugger jumps out and beats his face. So this is my question.
I love the shot that it's obviously this part is mechanical, it's practical, but the egg, the top four parts opening up.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, almost like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Like
it's really good,
really cool.
And then he's like, "Let me put my whole face in it."
Well, yeah, you get the shot. The camera he glances, he looks down into the opening, and it's the slimiest, nastiest.
Oh, it's no good.
Yeah, like you got a lot of cool mechanical set pieces, but the slimy set piece.
I think honestly, the set of this alien, I don't know what you would call it, breeding ground. I think it's the coolest thing like in the movie because it's so creepy and like there's mist in a spaceship. What's going on here? It's so atmospheric, like
right. And the rest of the movie, you're stuck in the Nostromo, so it's good to
which
get
also is
pretty.
Great, but like
it's cool
a little bit of variety. But okay, so the face hugger comes out. So here's my question to you. All right, I'm just going off of like what I kind of know about Alien. Maybe you could like correct me here because we're not going to talk about another Alien movie for a while. I'm guessing.
I know
unless you choose James Cameron next, which is like, all right, cool.
Spoiler alert: I am not.
Okay. All right. Well, we can mark him off the list of the, potential thousands of other directors that exist. So there's a queen, right? Let's just start there. There's a queen. Not in this movie. She shows up in this Aliens. Right. And she lays all these eggs.
Right.
And all these eggs have face huggers in them.
Yes.
Okay, so the face huggers come out and they hug your face, and they shoot alien into your belly.
They lay an alien.
And depending on what
belly.
kind of creature you are, the alien will explode out of your chest and immediately grow to full size, and it will become a killing machine.
The understanding is that it would take on the attributes of whatever creature it was inside of while it nests or cocoons or grows or whatever. It's not always true that it comes out of the chest. I think in Alien Covenant, there's a backburster finally.
Ooh, spooky. I've never seen Covenant. I can't wait to watch Covenant.
Okay. But yeah.
So like, is that it? Is it just like the queen lays face huggers, which then supplants people with like the evolutionary weird thing of this movie is so fascinating to me. And then also like when we get to Prometheus, it is also like doubly fascinating that Ridley Scott comes back to the franchise and he's like, I kind of want to explore man's relationship to God, and that's what we're going to do in this movie now. It's like, okay, cool, Ridley. I thought this was about aliens, but fucking go off, King. This rules.
Yeah, well, you watch the director's cut. There was always a scene that everyone talked about with Dallas being cocooned by.
Oh, that's what you were talking about when you texted me. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't necessarily. Listen. Both versions work. They're all right. You do get the shot. If you want to just talk about the differences real quick, the only thing that Dallas Cocoon does is it just explores a little bit more of the alien life cycle, because if I think kind of like worker bees, they're bringing them back for the queen's eggs to be implanted, but to make more, but they'll also eat humans because they're hungry. They'll just eat everything.
These guys are no good. These guys are
the perfect organism.
Okay.
It is stated by multiple androids, and androids are far smarter than us. So
they've also got milky blood and beady guts, so they're pretty cool. Yeah. So I guess
this is,
any other
by the way, Ash. Obviously, the theme in the Alien movies. The first movie, Ash is the android. Second movie, Bishop B is the android. Third movie, Carl C is the android.
Carl. Okay. Cool. Who's the android?
Oh, you know what? That was in Alien Resurrection. Was Call Winona Ryder.
Call
Call.
I haven't seen Resurrection.
And then obviously in Prometheus, you get the masterclass Michael Fassbender as David.
Fucking David as his like iconic performance. He's so good as David. Okay, so do I have any other questions about this area? I don't know. It's all cool. I don't know. It's cool. The alien is cool. The xenomorph rules. The facehugger rules. He's got a little flappy. He looks like a manta ray and he flaps around and he's scary.
Well, it's the facehugger. I mean, it's basically combining human spheres of spiders and snakes. So you're getting that.
I mean, I love that. I love both of those.
Super
things.
Creepy. Very fast. How it moves about.
I know the way it zips around is so freaky. Oh, it's so good.
Fast, just like how the crew gets back to the Nostromo after it took forever to get out to the ship.
So they bring. Yeah, we already talked about this sort of scene, but like, this is when Ash starts to be a real little stinker. When Ripley is like, "I'm not letting you back on the ship." He has a fucking alien on his face. No, thank you.
Normal procedure. Doesn't want to
being an absolute like, pro.
Yep.
Being an absolute pro. I respect her decision, and I think she's great. And then Ash just lets them in. He just totally supersedes her commands and just lets them in. And you're like,
you even got Captain Dallas saying, "This is an order, Ripley, to let them back in." And Ripley's like, "I hear you. I'm not doing it."
Yeah,
like
she's great. This is what I'm talking about, man. I love
this is leadership. You find out this whole time that Ash has a hidden agenda. He is working for the company in order to protect the specimen at all costs. And this is the first example of it by him completely ignoring.
And also
everything.
He's a fucking robot. This is what I'm saying. This is what's so crazy about Ash. They could have just did that. He could have just been like a seedy guy who works for the company and he's no good and very bad. We don't like him. And then they're like, no, also he's got milk blood and he's a robot, man. This is crazy. Why do that? Why include that?
Why? Because
I'm not complaining, by the way.
No,
this is the match.
This is because it's already as sci-fi as it gets. We're dealing with the traveling space crew of ore miners investigating a deadly alien, right? That's already as science fiction as it gets. So they're like, what's more science fiction? Oh, artificial intelligence. And it's the cherry on top.
It's beautiful.
If we're going sci-fi, we go
I won't
sci-fi
lie.
all the way.
I won't lie. I get a little bored, sort of like 3/4 ish away through the movie, between like when the alien starts killing people and when Ash turns, I get like a little bit like, yeah, okay, like going through the motions, it's a little slow, I got it. And when Ash turns, I'm just like immediately like fully revved up back in. Like that moment is so rejuvenating for me.
Oh, interesting.
No, I'm not saying like I get like bored. I'm not like sitting here being like, okay, come on. Like, I'm just saying it kind of lulls for me in terms of like, because I just got out of that great scene where like there's a face hugger exploding out of a dude's chest, and I'm like, what's going on? And now it's like, okay, so there's a creepy alien on the ship, and everyone is trying to kill it. I'm like, okay, I got that. Like, this is fine. And then just the second huge reveal of like Ash is a fucking goopy robot man. I'm like, this is great. So
I do think it took balls to spend an hour and 15 minutes like building anticipation. Like,
totally. Yes. No, like, movies don't do that anymore.
No, you can't. No. You have to hook an audience the first 5 minutes whilst they're turning to the next channel or whatever. But
it's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah. But for me, like as I always go back to my perspective as a kid, the first hour was what was boring for me. I couldn't wait until the part where you're like the alien is on the loose. Like, I'm like, no, this is where the movie starts. You know, like when they go the first time you see the sensor. Well, we'll get to that.
No, let's get back. Brent, let's get to that because we're moving kind of slow.
We are moving. So, Kane,
much like the film Alien, we're moving a little slow here.
That's fine. Well, it spends a lot. Now we got this creature. They got the cool shot of them kind of razoring open Kane's mask. They got him in the med bay. This is the slap I was mentioning that you get in the director's cut, because as Ridley is coming down to the med bay, she's climbing down a ladder.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Lambert that's climbing down.
Lambert coming down and she slaps Ridley.
Yeah, right. And that's a very reasonable reaction to almost being left out in space to die.
Yeah.
But you see both sides of it.
Totally. Yeah. That's fascinating that like Ridley Scott went back and was like, this is important to put it. It's crazy the things that like directors. Okay. Sidebar again, really quick. We're going to be talking a lot about director's cuts in this series because Ridley is just chock full of them.
Yeah.
He loves to go back and fiddle.
I don't necessarily like them or hate them. They can be beneficial.
You're talking about just director's cuts in general?
Just director's cuts in general.
It totally depends for me. It totally depends. And with a movie like Alien that came out and was sort of immediately revered as like a sci-fi classic and then just became even more of a classic over time, probably don't really need to go back and tamper with it too much. People kind of
right. It's like, well, if it was this good, what you don't need to. But
exactly.
Like another thing, I think one of the important things for the director's cut in this version, it's right after the iconic chestburster scene at dinner. They're doing the motion sensor, they're testing it, and they decide to go in groups to look for it. And this leads to them finding Jonesy the cat.
Jonesy
the cat. That's our last character that we didn't get to talk about.
Did Jonesy have his own sleep pod? Little baby sleep pod?
I don't think.
Maybe
he did. I don't know, because how would he
had to have been in hypersleep.
Maybe he probably slept with someone.
Okay.
Probably slept in
whose cat was Jonesy's, or was he just like the crew cat?
Crew cat.
If you're a cat, whose sleep pod do you want to spend years and years with?
I feel like Ripley kind of manhandles him a little bit, so I'm not sleeping in Ripley's pod. Not sleeping with her. I'm going in Yaphet Kotto's. He seems like he's comfy. It's probably warm in there too.
He's got some cushion, you know.
Yeah, and
I'm not going in Harry. No, you're gonna get lung cancer. Cigarettes. And he's all bones. Like, I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird.
All right, little digress. But they meet Jonesy the cat.
The director's cut thing I wanted to say really quick, but like, you get movies like this where people will go back and like tamper with Alien, and you're like, okay, I mean, kind of already loved Alien, didn't really need it, and like also you're not changing much, so like whatever. But sticking with the Ridley Scott theme, I have not seen it yet, but Kingdom of Heaven, I know famously a lot of people were like, Kingdom of Heaven fucking sucks. And then Ridley Scott went back and recut it the way that he wanted to. And is apparently that version of the movie is like awesome. Like, from what I've heard, like the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is like, those are the director's cuts I'm interested in, is when like there's studio tampering,
right? Or
like a vision wasn't really fully fulfilled and a director's allowed to go back and be like, no, this is the cut of the movie I wanted you to see. Like, Heaven's Gate.
Release the Snyder cut.
Honestly, like, as much as I fucking don't like Zack Snyder, I'd much rather see his version of the movie than a movie that was like dissected by a studio. Like,
Yeah, I think it's pretty agreed upon that studio tampering is bad for anything.
It's really not good. Like, you just don't, even if it's not like, I don't think any version of a Zack Snyder Justice League is going to be a thing that I like. It's just never going to be a thing that I like. If you gave me the option, I would much rather watch the 4-hour-long Zack Snyder approved, at least he's the artist in charge and he's saying this is the thing vision that I want you to see.
I can appreciate that
at
too.
The very least, so there's just shit like that where like I get it. Anyways, that's my side tangent over.
That's fine. No, it's there's a lot of things I agree with that. Well, this thing now tell me what you think about this. So this is a difference here. So they're they find Jonesy and Harry Dean Stanton's character lets him go, and they're like, well, why'd you do that? We're going to pick him up again on the motion sensor. You idiot, basically, go find him.
Yep.
And they keep going. So those two, Ripley and Parker, keep going. And then you get this long, Harry Dean Stanton's on his own. This is the first big reveal, first big death. He's exploring a garage, then goes a little further into a hangar. You get these cool interior shots of this ship, just brown, kind of rusted, old, like just so worn down in this freaking garage. These chains are dangling and the exhaust is dripping. Harry Dean Stanton's character kind of just lets it fall on him. I love this scene because he's just taking it.
I was always up.
Yeah, I was always just so like, ew, like what's dripping on him? But it's exhaust. It's like basically water, so it's not bad. But in the director's cut, you get a shot of the alien hanging in the chains.
Yes. Yeah.
In the original, it's not there.
And he doesn't highlight it at all.
No, it's very subtle.
There.
It is
you can see his big ass head.
I wish it was in the corner of the screen and not so much in the foreground. Yeah. But upon first time viewing, I don't think a viewer would know.
I don't think my girlfriend noticed. Like, she didn't say anything, at least. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, he's right fucking there.
Right.
You're gonna die right now.
So for people that have seen the original a billion times and know what the alien looks like, they're not right. That's cool. But for people that don't know what it is, that's just a random thing. Hey, that's cool. But that's like pretty much the last, besides the Dallas cocoon scene. That's
okay.
That's pretty much it.
Talked about. So then, I mean, why don't you walk me through the kills? So this, we didn't talk about the chest burster sequence. Jesus Christ.
Well, we've talked. I mean, what's more to say? It's,
folks, if you know anything about Alien, you probably know about the sequence where famous British actor John Hurt's chest explodes and a little creepy guy with a grill comes out and like runs away.
Yeah.
He's got a little gold teeth or something like that.
It's been parodied how the little alien runs away and whatnot. But
I mean, the best parody I think is Spaceballs, where he does the fucking "Hello, my baby." Hello,
that's pretty.
That's the best one.
Ridley Scott intentionally didn't tell Veronica, the actors, that the blood was going to spray up. Gets her on the face, iconic face, just iconic. What's more to say about that scene? It's great.
It's good. I just want to be clear. It's a really good scene. It's a really effective.
Yeah, I mean, in 1979 to shoot this scene,
the practical effects are brilliant.
That's another amazing thing. This is the first appearance of, like, besides the facehugger, the actual alien.
Yep.
And I think the public perspective of aliens at the time, Close Encounters, wasn't this a little bit before, like 77?
Close Encounters.
Anyway,
77. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people always imagine aliens as these little bald, maybe gray figures with elongated features,
the almond-shaped eyes.
Sure, yeah. That was everyone's viewpoint of the alien, and then you got this freaking thing comes along.
This fucking maniac coming out of this dude's chest. It's true.
This little thing.
True.
It's already been. We didn't talk about they did all the tests on the face huggers. They found out that
the acid blood. We didn't talk about acid. Okay,
this creature has acid for blood. You don't. Yeah, a lot of the features about the xenomorph are established later on in other things, in other like.
Not this one. This mediums. One they get acid blood right away.
You get this like the first thing you learn about this sucker,
blood
other
rules.
Than it attacks people. Like acid blood, it starts burning. That crap's gonna eat through the hull,
and it does. What does it go down like 3 levels or something like that?
It goes through a lot. How awesome is that, dude?
God, acid blood. That's the thing when like
metabolic or high.
When I grew up and I never really got into Alien because like I don't know, like I was like, okay, he's creepy alien thing. I don't really care. Whatever. I never really got into it. The first time I watched it, where I'm like, wait, hold on a second. His blood is like corrosive acid.
Yeah,
this
they
guy
call
rules.
it metabolic acid. And for the longest time, I was like, what acid is that? And it's like, there's hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid and just whatever it was. I just thought that was so cool that it could just eat through everything.
Oh, it's
and
so
like,
nasty. And that's
and
how you
like
know
Parker has
just
the memorable line, hell of a defense mechanism it's got.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't dare kill it.
You don't.
No.
So good.
Sweet.
Yeah, all right. So then the alien starts going on his killing rampage, right? That's where we're at. So the thing I think Aliens does better than this movie is the kills, because I think the kills in this movie are kind of anonymous and like unremarkable, because it's hard to like. I imagine that this was so hard to film in a way that was believable.
Yeah,
Aliens, he has the benefit of he's using like puppets and stuff, so it's like he can get away with a lot more cool shit in Aliens. And make it look, and also it's James Cameron, we already said, but like this movie, he relies heavily on like a quick cut to like instill fear in you, so you don't really clearly see any kills.
You see a lot with it's just building suspense. Like you'll see the shadow of an alien instead, like you said, the quick cuts where you'll see like just a lot of it's mouth, and then the mouth shot, and you'll see like the skull breaking, like you'll see a little gore, but it's such a brief
and I know this is the thing, is like I couldn't tell you who gets killed how, because like I know like at some point Dallas gets put in a cocoon, because I saw that. I think Harry Dean Stanton gets like bit in the chest, maybe. I don't know.
Oh no, he got a face. He got the
in the face.
Yeah, he got the skull puncture with the little baby mouth. Yep, he got that. Yeah. Parker got that. Lambert, you just see her legs dangling and her screaming, so it's off screen, just like Dallas in the original. But most of the time, these kills with the xenomorph are skull punctures with the baby mouth.
That little weird propulsive mouth is so weird.
Yeah, with its tubular head design. Oh, I love it.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. But yeah, I don't know. This fucking alien kills a bunch of people. It sucks. I don't have much to say about this sequence. What about you?
I just let he's initially calling Jonesy, and Jonesy takes like the camera shows Jonesy start walking, and then you see it creep up behind it, and Jonesy backs up and starts hissing. It was a small I guess a conspiracy theory, just where for the longest time they thought that the alien had some sort of connection with Jonesy the cat.
Come nerds.
But the director's cut.
Stop.
This is the last thing from the director's cut.
All right.
Ridley Scott made sure to include the scene where the alien hits the cage away to put all that to rest. That little bit.
Listen, I have to address nerds. I just have to address all nerds.
Yes.
Hey, nerds, this is James speaking. I'm one of the co-hosts of Film School Dropouts, movie podcast in which each season we cover a director's full filmography. I just got to say, you guys need to calm down. You need to stop looking into every fucking corner of movies. Jonesy the cat is somehow connected to the xenomorph. You guys, this is embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourselves. And I just on behalf of all adults, I think you guys should probably maybe take like an Ambien, maybe take a nap, go outside, go have a nice meal.
So he's basically saying chill, just chill.
Chill the fuck out. What? God, fan theories are so stupid.
Yeah.
And it's even more stupid when directors and filmmakers acknowledge them and have to respond to them.
Yeah, I mean, my thing was Jonesy just hissed at the alien in the original.
Yeah, because he's a cat.
Sure.
And there's a big scary monster. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine Jonesy hissing at someone he's friends with. So,
I mean, yeah, it's not like the alien was like, kitty, like it's a fucking big scary alien.
Yeah.
Oh God, idiots, nerds.
I guess the last thing from that same segment is the director's cut has them going into the hangar and like getting bled on, because they get some blood on them.
I don't know.
And this they're like looking up, and this justifies the next scene from the original where Parker's saying it looks huge. This thing, it took him in the air vent. where in the original you don't really see them see it. So Ridley Scott included the scene where they're getting dripped on by blood and looking up.
Okay. Wow, so crazy.
That makes sense. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't really have a problem with any of this stuff. Like, go for it, King. Whatever. All right. So all these people are dying. We get everyone's dying left and right, dead. We get to I want to talk about the fucking Ash sequence. This is just my favorite part of the whole movie.
Okay, they're skipping the iconic beeping dot towards Dallas. He's coming for you. Right. Dallas is climbing, and
I don't know. Someone apparently put a GPS on the fucking alien so they could track it. I don't know, whatever. Sure.
It's a motion sensor.
Oh, okay. Cool. Hey, Brent, that's all I needed you to say. That's fine. I'm okay with it being a motion sensor. That's fine.
Who cares if before when they demonstrated it made a humming and in this sequence it's beeping?
Apparently you, because I didn't notice.
It's a little error, but whatever. There are things that,
God, it's so funny to see you like have to like address continuity errors in a thing that you love. Because you're always like, yeah, you get like kind of despondent. It's really funny.
There's a button like when he takes the pen to the acid, part of it melts, and when he gives it back to him, it's different again. Like there's little things in this movie where it's, there's lights outside of Mother's door. Like the fifth one down isn't lit up, but when they go inside, it's lit up. It's annoying.
Well, a light can turn on and off.
I know, but this one's clearly like burnt out.
Brent, I just when you're done.
Oh, the nerd thing. You're talking.
I want you to rewind. I want to listen to this episode. Maybe go back a couple seconds here. Maybe 5-10 minutes max, and just listen to what I have to say.
I didn't know that was meant for me, but as I'm talking, I'm realizing that
you're like, oh no,
it's more and more meant for me. Great.
Okay. All right. What else we got? Okay. See the Ash sequence. So this whole thing leads up to Sigourney Weaver going into the Mother box thing and essentially demanding from Mother to give her information about why the fuck this mission's happening, whatever. And you find out that only the science officer, who is Ash, has permission to know this information, which is all of these people on the ship are fucking expendable. The company does not care if they live or die. The only thing they care about is getting this alien specimen because this thing rules. And that's the whole mission. And she learns this information. Sigourney Weaver killing this scene, just freaking out, being stressed and like nervous. It's great. And Ash is like behind her now.
So here's just a couple small more nitpicks. I'm going to be done with it.
That's fine. Go for it, bud.
When the door to Mother's room, it makes a hiss and Ash just pops in there. Like she clearly would have heard the door like, open up. That's whatever. I'm fine. It makes a cool shot for when Ash is just there. Whatever. Yeah. That's for the viewer. That's for me. And then another thing, she has a bloody nose as she's like walking like after this little thing with Ash before the fight starts.
Okay.
Why does she have a bloody nose?
Yes, I did. Okay, I didn't know if I missed something or
no.
Whatever.
There was a cut storyline where she has a decompression problem, but they kept the bloody nose in.
Because yeah, I see
why. I don't know. It's another error.
No, that's just an editing thing. You probably finished shooting the movie and you're like, we got to cut this shit about the decompression because it's slowing up the tempo. But we already shot her with the bloody nose. There's not really anything we can do about it in post. Oh well, that's probably all that is. All right, so fucking all right. Ash comes in and he lays down, the monologue about this alien being like a thing of pure fucking whatever. It's awesome. I
love her freaking out on Ash.
It's so good. But what I love here is this like first reveal of Ash where you get that close up and a little white drip comes down his forehead. And you're like, why has he got cum on his head? Like what?
Yeah, little milk sweat.
Why is it you have not learned he's a fucking robot. You're like,
right, you don't know
a little dribble of milk. And then I love Ian Holm doing the most insane thing I've seen an actor ever do in a movie, which is try to murder someone else by shoving a magazine down their throat.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Android programming goes, it's one
of the most insane things I've ever seen in a movie.
Even before that, you get this really when she's like she's gonna spill the beans essentially, and she's walking and this door closes and you get this cool sci-fi door close and she's in this well-lit room. She walks around to the other one and that door closes.
Yeah.
And then the pull and she's like, Ash, and then pull back and he's just standing there. You're like, oh man, this is
so good.
It's getting creepy.
It's so good.
Yeah. And he like throws her around, knocks her out. And
takes a
yeah,
magazine
goes for
and
the
rolls it
newspaper
up.
kill.
He tries to shove a magazine down her throat. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and and her visible reaction is awesome too. Like her just
reaction is
freaking out.
like, wait a second, are you killing me with a magazine? This is
Yeah,
insane.
no, it's freaky. And she, and it's so vicious because obviously androids don't have human limitations. So when Parker and Lambert show up to try to stop him from doing this to Ripley, he takes his little android hand claw and just he just squeezes on Parker's chest, this giant Yaphet Kotto's chest.
And he like
takes
screams.
him down in a heartbeat because he feels like his chest is being crushed.
But still, even at this point, he's dripping milk. He's shoving magazines down Sigourney Weaver's throat. He's grabbing Yaphet Kotto's chest. Even still, you don't know he's a robot.
No,
you
you
don't know
think
he's a
something is
robot.
different with him because he just squeezed the chest of this.
This is off.
Yeah.
But the moment you know he's a robot, it's not like a reveal where he's like eyes roll to the back of his head and like wires come out. It's not. It's the most jarring fucking reveal of all time, which is Yaphet Kotto takes a pipe and fucking knocks his head off. The
first hit, he like hits his like neck area and it sends him like spinning. Like he does, Ian Holm does this weird, he's bouncing around the room, like doing this weird physical, like
it's such
literally spinning out of
unbelievable
control because he's malfunctioning at this point so hard. And then the second hit just smash it and all these tubes go flying and the white milk is like spraying. And I love the detail of this scene when all this is happening. Ripley's just on the ground, just struggling in the back. Like she's
pulling Time Weekly out of her fucking throat.
She's so jacked up from the newspaper.
So anyways,
assault.
I just think the reveal of him as a robot is like one of the most jarring things in a movie. I think it's so good, so well handled.
Gross, these tubes, just everything to do with the
weird
slimy
little orbs that make up his innards.
Yeah, there's little bubbles.
Oh, it's so good. And then you get like the great scene where she talks to his decapitated head.
Oh yeah, well she slams on. They plug him in, they spark him up.
Yeah.
And they have this conversation about the organism, this perfect specimen. And at one point, I think she says, "You admire it," and he says, "I admire its purity."
It's so good
because this freaking creature it's pure. It's a killing machine. It's kind of like a shark in a sense that it kills, eats, and makes other. Just like that,
completely uncomplicated.
Yep. And it just happens to have the physical attributes that allow it to be this perfect with its speed, size, strength, acid blood, reproductive system that takes the attributes of others. Just incredible. And then Ash finishes this little monologue with offering his condolences.
I offer you my condolences. It's so good.
And he smiles.
Oh, it's so good.
I love it. Yeah, I love that she wakes him up by slamming on the table and his eyes open up. Money.
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Oh, so good. Anyways, that scene rules. It's the best part of the movie for me. I just get
Yaphet Kotto finishes off Ash with a flamethrower. Torches
him. As you do.
Yep. And you get this cool shot of the different layers of the android's skull and skin,
comes off and there's a milky face under it.
Sweet.
So then Lambert and Parker die. I just want to get through this last little part here.
That's fine. Final three, they go off on their own. They're trying to get fuel, or what are they trying to?
They're trying to get coolant for the
correct.
The I don't know, the smaller ship or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It goes bad. Parker and Lambert die. They get killed. By the
only thing really noticeable or noteworthy for me was you get the cool shot of Lambert standing in the circular spotlight almost, and you see the alien kind of drop down behind her, and it slowly rises up, and it just looks really cool. And she's just completely frozen in fear, and everyone and their mom's like, run, do something. And she just is frozen and just can't do anything because this thing is so terrifying in front of her. Love freaky. It. I might be Lambert in that situation. I might be Lambert in that situation. Everyone else is fighting. No, that thing's too big, too fast. No,
too full of acid.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're dead, whatever. Sigourney Weaver now, what is her plan here? Is this when she decides to blow up the ship?
Yeah, the plan originally, after everything with Ash, they were just like, well, fuck this thing. Let's blow up the ship. Let's get out of here. I want to live. Basically, Lambert's plan from the start.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because she's at some point, she's like, everyone dies or whatever. And she's like, oh, we're sticking to the same plan. There's no reason we should change Dallas's plan. That's right.
She's ready to bail instantly. Like she's always been about it.
So here's all right. You and I once had an argument about her going back to get the cat. I don't want to like litigate that here. I think I don't love that she spends so much fucking time trying to find this cat when she has been for the rest of the movie incredibly pragmatic and like she's a survivor, like she's smart, whatever. I'm gonna withdraw a little bit because I remembered it incorrectly. In my mind, she like got into the escape hatch thing and then went back to get Jonesy, but that's not what happens.
No.
What happens is she's going back to get like the coolant, and like while she's in that room, she's like looking for Jonesy.
Yeah, she's prepping the shuttle.
Yeah,
and she hears a meow on the radio, and she, as being the hero that she is, not wanting to leave any crew behind.
This is our
She goes and
central
saves
disagreement.
Jonesy the cat because you should.
This is our central disagreement.
James is
about
like,
her
fuck
character.
the cat, let it die.
No,
I have
I
no
don't
heart.
want the cat to die.
That's all I read from that.
Jesus Christ. Just for the audience, this is my whole argument. I don't want the cat to die, but you have already set up in the movie that Ripley does not take any bullshit when it comes to her own survival, and she's not a hero. I don't think of her as a hero in this movie at all. She's not going to save people. She literally is like, I'm going to leave you to die because you have an alien on your face. Fuck that. So this is she's
protecting the remaining crew. You're looking at she's protecting,
but she doesn't. Okay, I guess whatever. I don't know. Regardless, I'm taking it back a little bit because I misremembered it. I don't hate it as much that she spends so much time looking for this fucking cat when she should just get on the whatever.
It's not that much time, folks.
It's not as much time as I remember. No.
The only thing that's a little frustrating is in this attempt, she saves Jonesy. She's looking. She sees the bodies of Parker and Lambert. She's like, well, fuck this. It's just me now. I'm blowing this pop stand. T-minus 10 minutes to self-destruct. She is on her way to the shuttle. She's got Jonesy. She's ready to go. This is it. And in the pathway blocking her is the xenomorph.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, fuck, now I got to deal with this thing because I literally can't escape because this thing's in my way.
Yeah.
So she tries to hurry back to the self-destruct, turn it off, but she's like, I don't know, probably 10, 15 seconds too late.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's just like, well, now I have to go because I will guarantee die if I don't at least try to get to the shuttle. So she's flying down the corridor. She's whipping Jonesy back and forth. Poor kitty.
She's smacking it into doors.
Just wall after wall. This thing's just taking bruises.
Yeah.
And she gets to the shuttle. She gets to the passageway. Nothing's in the way. She gets in. She's closes the hatch. There's this cool shot of the kind of the shuttle outer layer container, like peeling back, like ready to launch it.
Yeah.
And she hits the button, purge, just sets it off into the space. I like the visualization of, I think, the countdown or, 12, 11,
whatever.
10. And the Nostromo is getting so far in the distance because of how fast this little shuttle just launched off. That's pretty cool. Always like that. So, and then she's preparing 10, 9, 8, 7. This giant, the explosion of all explosions. I always compare like ships exploding from different sci-fi properties because, Star Wars has the iconic one that Lucas changed quite a bit with the Death Star.
I know. He has this iconic explosion with the Death Star, and he goes back and he's like, what if I made it look worse? Okay, good job, George. Oh, God.
For my money, I always thought this was like Independence Day has a good one. But this one is just the peak because you get a triple explosion and like the colors look badass and it just looks like it's getting, I don't know. I just love the explosion. It's awesome.
I'm going to weigh in and I'm going to probably come up with an opinion that you're going to hate. I drool when I watch The Last Jedi and fucking Laura Dern goes like hyperspeed into the Star Destroyer.
Oh no, that's drool worthy.
That's one of maybe one of the coolest looking things that a sci-fi movie has ever put to screen.
It was awesome. I love everything about it. We had never seen it if like hyperspace drive was like activated, pointed, weaponized.
So
like that.
good.
And we saw it in like the particle effects.
All right.
Sexy.
So, God, I know. So she's getting ready to go hypersleep or whatever, and I love the reveal that the alien is still on the ship with her, just because it's like it's so perfectly camouflaged in the pipes.
I mean,
I still, even knowing what this thing looks like, having seen the movie, when that scene happens, I'm like, God, it's so well done. You really can't see him.
It's a blend of how badass the set looked the entire movie with how badass the alien looked the entire movie, and it makes for a good reveal.
Yeah, it's good.
Now
here's a question.
After calming down, she's settling down. She's in the world's tiniest underwear. The alien, seriously, it's weird, but
it's not like sexy underwear. It's not like she's wearing like little skimpy thong. It's just like little tiny underwear.
Just age 8 through 9 underwear.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Just,
weird.
Like
it's weird. All I'm going to say about it is weird. Why?
It's weird.
Yeah. So then you get the really awesome reaction of her getting scared when she realizes the hand pops out.
Yeah.
And
now, can I ask? Okay, I have 2 questions here. Why doesn't this thing just like annihilate her?
I think it's already kind of in like its hibernation mode. I think it senses that
it's gonna. Okay.
Like, because you had to have known the ship took off, because it's and the explosion, the jarring, and the shaky, and all that.
But would an alien, like, I don't think of these things as like very intelligent. Like, I don't think this thing has like thought like that. I don't know. I
think it had already gone in its hibernation mode. Yeah.
Anyways,
it did just eat twice. Like, it's been eating.
It's got a big old tummy. It's got food coma.
Okay. We'll get back to that. I'll do a little more digging why it was chilling. Regardless, there's this cool, very claustrophobic scene of Ripley in this like closet suit area, slowly putting on.
It's so good the way that she sneaks into the spacesuit.
Yeah, slowly putting it on.
Why does she sing?
Just probably like a calming mechanism. Maybe that's part of her character.
Okay.
Maybe what do you do when you're a little hectic? You do something?
I just feel like if I was getting hunted by a bear, I wouldn't be like singing, I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance or whatever my fucking song would be. I don't know. Like, it's just weird that she starts singing a song like frantically while putting this thing on and trying to be all stealthy.
Yeah, I think it was just.
I think she kind of does it beautifully, but like it is sort of enchanting to watch. Like, I'm just like, what's she doing that for? And I kind of love it, but I don't really understand it.
I mean, the only thing I can think of to justify that little lucky star or whatever she's saying is, she's just trying to calm herself down.
Yeah. Hey, that's cool.
Because this thing just wiped out everything and everyone around her, and she's
not
next,
Jonesy,
unless she does something.
Didn't get Jones.
And no, she sits down in the chair. Well, actually, while she's still in the little closet thing, she starts pressing the buttons. No. She sits down in the chair first. The control panel.
Yeah, she starts
pressing the exhaust buttons near it. She presses the first one. It's close, but it didn't hit. She tries the second one. Sets him off. He starts doing his iconic little alien squeal because it's hurting him. And you can see, and then he falls out of his little spot. Like it's a little whatever, but and then so she turns in the chair, she starts looking away, and this is they put this in the trailer where you get her turning, just a little bit.
Yeah,
this is great because you see the like right there. Oh, it's so just chef's kiss with the alien. With
so good.
She freaks out. She hits the button. He goes flying out.
Blows the airlock and like
he goes flying out the airlock. Luckily, Jonesy is still in the closet. Or where's Jones? Oh no, Jonesy's sleeping at this point, right?
I don't fucking know.
Jonesy's sleeping. You already put
Jonesy has like a concussion right now. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I forgot the alien for the director's cut assault.
Yeah.
So the alien, this is a sweet thing. Instantly, as it's out of space, she shoots it with the harpoon, and it goes flying out into space. It's all bleeding. And like, I didn't know, I thought it was dangling a little more before it started. No, this is instant. Instantly tries to climb back in through the engine, through the vent.
Yeah, she just blows the fucking engines. She's just like, I'm gonna burn you to a crisp.
Just smashes it. This thing was not giving up. It was still coming back in.
So good.
It's in space and was still coming back in.
So
sweet. Good. Yeah, she sends him flying. Since we're not going to talk about aliens for a long time, one of the opening shots of Aliens has the harpoon still in the door from this when they find her. Yeah, so and then she sits down in her little tube. Well, before that, she does her little captain's log because she is the only survivor. Iconic, love it. I think I used to recite it in the mirror growing up.
Weird thing to do as a teenage boy, but all right.
Well, sure.
I'm just teasing you.
This is Brent.
All right.
Oh,
you didn't say this is Ellen Ripley?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I became it. And then for a little bit there, I would, as I was brushing my teeth and toothpaste would be like, I'd pretend let it drool out of my mouth like I was Bishop or like Ash.
Wow, you
and
really
just
like these movies. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Good for you, man. Is there anything else you want to say about the film Alien?
No, I think I've said enough.
All right. Yeah, we talked about it a lot. I feel like we've covered basically everything I had.
Is this one of our longer episodes?
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. I expected it. I mean, this is like one of your favorite movies. I get it.
Right.
Listen, like I'll keep threatening us doing The Matrix because that's going to be a nightmare.
The only criticism that I can really give this movie, honestly, is for the time it was made, 1979. This is iconic. This is a 5-star movie. For today's horror standards, was I that scared? No, not really. Is that because I've seen it a lot? Maybe. Or
Probably.
Maybe because it's just a slow moving alien that really doesn't show me much and it's left up to the imagination. Maybe I'm more of a visual person. That's really all I have. I do think the xenomorphs look cooler and work better through an action lens than a horror lens. But I can definitely get down with why people immediately got scared of the monster when they first saw this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrifying movie. I get it. Like, 5 stars for you?
I am going to give this 5 stars.
Yeah, this is one of your favorite movies. I understand. Yeah, I think this movie's more ambitious than it has the technology to pull off. I think some of the action scenes are like a little bit scrappy and like, it doesn't, like you said, it's sort of like some of it falls to like, all right, I get it. It's the 70s, but like, I don't know. It's still pretty great. I'm going to go 4 stars. And I know that that's sacrilege, but like, this is just where I'm sitting, bud.
That's all right.
4 stars for me.
If it wasn't able to blend the two genres as well as it did, with the horror and the sci-fi.
Yeah, it's great.
Because I just think that's, especially for 79, that's highly, highly unique.
Yeah.
Now it's very commonplace. You see genres blending all the time.
Yeah.
But not only did it do it and be ahead of its time, it was extremely effective, and
Way
it
ahead of
created
its time.
landmark things. It created, there's a whole section of iconography from science fiction and horror that is here because of Alien.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I have no problem giving this a 5 star. I am going to ask who your favorite character is, though.
Ash. It's Ash. I
Ash?
don't give a fuck. Ash rules.
Wow.
I love Ash so much.
That is a shock. I think this might also be a shock who my favorite character is.
Is it Parker?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Who is it?
I had Ripley written down, and then I scribbled it out and wrote Xenomorph.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. I mean, of course. Yeah.
As much as that's the thing about this movie. Like, not only do you get the greatest female heroine of all time,
I was just
you
gonna
get,
say,
to me, the greatest movie monster of all time. And I think for a movie to be able to do that is just insane that you get both of those in one movie.
You heard it here first, folks. A feminist landmark film, and James and Brent are like, no, we like the male characters.
I want to say the alien or xenomorph is genderless.
Sure. Yeah.
They're kind of like,
yeah. Oh, I was making that joke when we were watching it. I was like, I think Jessica was like, oh no, the alien, he's coming. And I'm like, actually, it goes by they, them. It's a non-binary alien. So,
well, that's one for the fans.
Yes. Not only is this a feminist masterpiece, it's also a trans masterpiece, and we love it.
Great.
I'm sure that there are trans readings of this movie. I'm certain of it.
Probably of everything.
Yeah. Well, no, like a lot of like body horror kind of like stuff like The Fly, like all of these movies like have a lot of like easy to map on trans allegories that like work really well.
What's crazy is I had this movie, like I was going back and forth between a 4.5 and a 5, but the big thing that put it over the edge is the fact that you get both. You get Ripley and a xenomorph for the first time ever. And the set.
The thing is, like, I mean, I'm not going to waste the time going to look back at like the fucking 1980 Oscar ceremony, but like it wins visual effects, which obviously is like the right choice. But like, why didn't this win production design? Who did this lose to? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think the set is
It rules.
It's the third most important thing in this film. To honestly, the set is a masterpiece. It is. So far on this podcast, it's, to me, I mean, I think it's easily the best. Obviously, I'm biased because I love this movie, but I think it's easily the best looking set.
That's a good question. I'm just gonna eliminate M. Night Shyamalan. He's not really a production design guy for me. So
no.
If I take him out of the mix,
this is 2 for 2. Like, I'm seeing a clear example of Ridley Scott's just tools at work here. 2 for 2, just literally grand slams with set design.
I'm okay. Like Alien, I would say is.
I went a little. That was overindulging on the Duelist there.
No. I wasn't talking about the Duelist. I'm like in my head trying to figure out, is there a movie that we've covered that has a better set design, production design to it? And like, I think the only challenger to the throne might be Inception.
Okay.
But that movie's playing with a lot more tools. So it's like, you also are sort of like adjusting for the time frame. But yeah, Alien might be like the coolest production design we've covered so far.
And it might hold that title for quite a while, honestly.
I don't know, because the next movie we're covering is Blade Runner. So join us next week as we cover Blade Runner. I will be watching the final cut. Blade Runner has a lot of different cuts. He did a lot of cuts to it, but I'm just letting you know that the cut of the movie I will be watching is the 4K Blu-ray final cut of the movie.
Yeah, there are a lot of cuts. That's the primo version.
Blade Runner is, I think, the one that he has like gone back and fucked with
the annoying amount of cuts.
Yeah, well,
like, I think people are like, stop.
I think so. Yeah, but
please stop.
Well, I'm watching the final cut, and that's what we're reviewing. Do you have anything else to say about Alien?
I don't.
Do we have anything else to talk about? Are we all done?
I think we are done. I just want to thank.
Because I got to go finish Fatal Attraction. Glenn Close just cut her wrists, and I'm gripped.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of watching Fatal Attraction. So
that's great.
About that.
Just, I mean, it's not great if you have a pet rabbit, but
it isn't.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
Comment, review us, whatever.
Yes, please.
We appreciate it. We'll read your review. We're doing Blade Runner next time.
Blade Runner next week.
Can't wait.
Well, not next week. Next episode.
Next time.
Blade Runner. A movie I've also only seen one time.
I think that might be the same for me.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll come into Blade Runner as equals.
Fresh. Great.
Yes. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is James.
I'm Brent.
We will see you next time.
See ya.